I want to play in Europe. What the hell does that mean, right? Because Europe could be Latvia, Luxembourg.
No one's talking about Latvia or Luxembourg, dumbass.
So you don't want to just shove it in there. Start with the smaller finger, especially if this is the first time. Start with the smaller finger and go slow.
I mean, there's a lot of things that need to change.
Honey, eating it is the best thing that you can do for your man.
I want people to realize I'm just human. I'm just human, and I make mistakes.
So this guy, Derek, wants to know, is putting your tongue in an ass really the thing to do?
Yeah, it feels really good.
Yeah, it's a weird one, I think.
And I know you want me to toss your salad too, don't you? All right, on that note.
What are you saying, bro? You are.
Stop, bro! Stop, bro, help me, I'm stuck!
All right, welcome to Straight Red Card. Good to be back. Apparently, Charlie Davies doing the best Derek impression today on the show with the red hat.
Always out to steal our thunder.
Stealing my stuff, man.
That's your shtick. It's your shtick, and we'll make we'll bring it up. We'll come up.
We will. Yeah, we will. Good funny thing that happened at Bournemouth, the Bournemouth game when that was against Southampton. Speaking of pinky fingers. When Willie Smallbone came out and was replaced by Chris Diddley. I was like, Willie Smallbone out of the game.
You can't script this.
Chris Diddley in. Chris the Diddler Diddley in. Also, I loved it when the guy that, is like just a role player on a team, right? He's just a role player, but he scores like a surprise goal, right?
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden you see him gestating after that, like, hey, go over there. No, hey, no, you go over there. Pass me the ball. There, he's directing the team as if now he's the team leader because he scored a fucking goal. It happens constantly, and you just gotta laugh at that. Like, this is a guy that doesn't gestate ever on the field, but he scored a goal, and now he's the team leader, right? I don't know. Yeah. He's not even just the team leader. He's the fucking manager on the field.
Yeah.
So, come on, dude. You just scored a goal. You don't need to gestate and tell everybody where they need to go now. You weren't doing that 5 minutes ago before you scored. So I can't even remember who the guy was. The turd's back. Holy crap.
Yeah, I'll bring him up in a sec. Chad said that he stole the guy stole his bowling name. I'm not sure if he's talking about the Diddler or what was the other one?
Willie Smallbone.
Willie Smallbone, yeah.
It's William Smallbone.
No, it's Willie. We're going Willie.
But I'm going with Willie. Short in the background. Welcome back, my friend. It's been a while.
I thought you were reading it incorrectly there.
It's just been so long. I didn't even bother to bring the loop tonight. So, because you haven't been around to wax our dolphins. So
I heard that's how his wife likes it too.
Without the loop?
Yeah.
Well, you shouldn't need loop for one of the areas. But the other one maybe. But usually that's got enough juice to make it work. Ass juice. All right. That's horrible. All right. I don't think I've really ever had to lube up an ass. All right.
I'm just going to let you continue. Just keep going, Derek. Go for it.
Maybe I have, but I doubt it. I don't remember it. I don't remember having to do that. Okay. Sorry. Welcome back to the Straight Red Card. My wife took my computer away. It's okay, though. I got to watch her F the mailman last week. It's all good. Yeah, well, I mean, you love that cuck stuff, so that makes sense. Absolutely. Also, just wanted to bring this up for my Canadian friends. The Republicans probably, and I'm not a Republican, and Trump probably don't want Canada as a 51st state.
Okay, you're having me bring this up already, man. Just tell me, hey, we're doing the Canadian topic. Go with
we're
that.
doing the Canadian.
It's like 4 topics down the list, but we'll just jump right to it.
Let's just jump into it because I don't have my fluff in any order. It's just the order comes up in my fucking brain, right? Yeah, dear America, we're not booing your hockey players. We're not booing your country. We're not even booing you. We're booing your asshole of a president who keeps threatening our sovereignty. No, dude, you're being trolled. Nobody wants Canada if you're on Trump side, for instance, Canada is the 51st state, because that doesn't really work really well with the Electoral College. That's like adding another fucking California.
How many electoral votes would that state get?
A lot. Probably
the entire country of Canada.
Yeah, the whole is a big ass state now and gets as many electoral points as that would garner. That would not be good. I'm sure they don't want that. So it's so obvious this was a troll from the start that the fact that people are biting on this troll is pathetic. It really is pathetic.
Actually,
it's a troll. A troll.
The overall population of Canada is 40 million, a little over 40 million.
Yeah.
And California is a little over 38.
Yeah. So that's a lot of electoral things. So just think of it reasonably. Don't get trolled. Don't get trolled. Don't allow yourself to get trolled, Canada. It's no big deal. Although that hockey game was fun as hell to watch, with there being like 2 fights within the first 30 seconds. I mean, that was crazy.
Amar says he is the president of the United States, though. And I'm like, but Trump. It's Trump.
He's Trump, and he trolls. That's what he does. He trolls. Oh, there's so many trolls, so you can't fall for it. Can't fall for the troll. You got to hear it and go, yeah, that's a troll. You just got to know it's a troll. And that's what he was doing. He was trolling Canada, and people are biting way too hard on that. Your sovereignty is in no way threatened. No, they don't want you to be the 51st state. Trust me, they don't. So
it was a troll. It was a troll directed towards Trudeau.
Yes.
Come on.
Pretty much.
Come on, guys.
Yeah.
This is just silly.
Yeah.
It's silly.
Yeah. So don't bite on it. Let's get back to normal here.
Let's get back to the wonderful world of just bantering back and forth. Relations aren't strained here.
Or as what is Tack called the Canadians? The rude
Canadians.
Yeah. Just get back to being rude. Let's just move on. Yeah. Yeah. Let's move on. All right. Also,
although I hear they have nice ski resorts in Canada.
Oh, you bringing that up? So this is the 3-year anniversary of when Pete got nabbed by I Swallow. Because if you scroll down, I Swallow come. I Swallow ski resort. I mean, it's a classic. I wish I couldn't find it because I think he deleted a lot of the old ones. I wanted to find it.
We have it on our feed. We just have to go back and find it.
That's true.
If we know the year, I mean, if it's 3 years to this date, I feel like we can go back to our live streams and find pretty easily.
Yeah, that was the classic one that he fell for. He hasn't fallen for anything lately because people stopped trying.
He hasn't fallen?
Fallen.
There you go.
Did I say fallen?
You said fold.
He ain't fallen for no fucking bullshit lately.
Oh my God, that's another thing. That's another thing. You brought up the whole redneckish accent there. Saturday Night Live had their 50th anniversary session this Saturday.
Yeah.
And Tom Hanks was on it, and he revised his role of the redneck on Black Jeopardy.
Okay.
And people are livid. They're pissed. They're saying this is what they think of half the voting population, more than half the voting population.
People are too sensitive. I don't think so.
Well, that's the thing. It's the thing. Because the whole point of the Black Jeopardy skit was you have this redneck, MAGA wearing hat, Tom Hanks, and the other contestants and the host are sitting there going like, what's this guy doing here type of thing, and they didn't think much of him. And then all of a sudden they found out as this show progressed that, hey, despite their differences, they have a lot of similarities and a lot of similar life experiences as a whole. They experiencing little things differently, but they still are very more similar.
I missed it. So
that was the whole point. What I say?
Well, in that case, I think it's fine. But people got to remember, it's just character. It's just characterization. It's just caricature, I think is, right? Sure. You're making a massive generalization of and creating a character. It's okay. We need to all have, sense of humor.
Untouchable says SNL has been funny since Will Ferrell left. I agree. I haven't really watched much of Saturday Night Live for like 4 to 6 years now.
I haven't either.
Maybe even longer than that. I will say though, when Nate Bargatze was in there and did his
that was good.
Washington,
yeah,
thing that was hysterical.
That was a good skit. They need more of that. Hey, I got a VPN finally, because as you well know, the state of Indiana has basically banned or made it impossible to visit certain sites and do my research, which is important research that the world needs to know about the pornography business. And I can't do that research because they're making me put in my scan my driver's license into it in order to go and do my research. So I finally said, Indiana and all the idiots that run it. And I said, VPN, baby. And I just got right around them. And now I'm free to do all the research I need, which is really good because I'm discovering all kinds of new things. Without that. Now, the funny thing is, the kids, they already know about this with their phones because you can get free VPN services so easy. So if they think they're stopping a single 16 or 17 or 18-year-old boy from watching pornography, they are kidding themselves with this stupid law they got. It's absolutely idiocy. And most of the sites are like, hey, because of your law, we're just not taking any. Some of them are saying, we don't even want to do your driver's license thing because we think that's an infringement on your privacy. So we're just banning everyone from Indiana, period. So pretty ridiculous. Like, that's what you get.
I still haven't. My site's been fine.
You visit one site. I'm a researcher. I have to research multiple sites, and they're often closed down to me because of that. Right? I'm a curious researcher.
Saying you should have found a free site that doesn't get blocked by Indiana. That was a hub.
Oh, I have those too, but I got to expand my horizons. Right? If you're doing research,
I'll say this much: the site I'm referring to doesn't just house on one particular activity.
Right. Neither do any of the ones I visit either. Right. Exactly. All right. So there's that. By the way, Pulisic's episode 3 on the Pulisic show on Paramount. He outright confirms what we said for a while there on this show, and of which I was attacked by, not attacked, it's not a good word.
No, go with attack. It's sexier.
I was PM'd by people who claim to be his Pulisic's friends that said I need to stop talking about him being a virgin. Yep. And I'm like,
some of Pulisic's friends slide into your DMs.
Huh? Yeah, didn't even use lube. And they told me, can you please stop talking about that? It's not, first of all, it's not funny. Okay, it's not funny to everybody. I get that.
Humor's subjective, so maybe not to you guys.
But I said it's a joke. And, we don't know exactly where I had inside some voices talking to me about his private life and saying it wasn't going so good with the girls. And then we had the Chilwell and Pulisic interview, which basically confirmed that he didn't date or wasn't dating and couldn't find a partner or a girlfriend, and that he wasn't into the nightlife, all of which was admitted in episode 3. All of what we said on the show 3 years ago is absolutely correct. He met his current girlfriend online, who she didn't even know who he was. And even he said, and I quote, people out there probably were also like us, were conjecturing, although we were joking, do you even like girls? I'm not sure we ever went there. We did say he might be a virgin and that it was, because of his, he still could be because of his religious beliefs. He's very, very Catholic, as we well know. And they saved that for marriage. Okay. Very small percentage do these days.
If Pulisic doesn't like girls, then that's fine too. That's his choice. Not choice, but that's his thought process at that point.
Look at Fumar. Fumar's out there totally disgracing Pulisic's sister. Whatever the opposite of a virgin is, that's Pulisic's sister. Whoa! Ba-ba-bing, ba-ba-ba. Anyhow, Great Basin says, disagree, Derek. He probably had a few hookups in London. There was a leak a few years ago of him sexting with some girl. Well, that's kind of the opposite of having real sexting. So, that's maybe how he solved the issue. But anyhow, it was a joke, just to make it clear. So I don't want any of Pulisic's homies coming after me in my PMs. Just leave me alone. This is a joke. However, episode 3, he does say exactly what we were saying about his love life. Non-existent prior to the golfer girl, who seems like a really great gal.
Let's say we were talking about that, and you're like, she's like, she didn't even know him. They met online. I imagine it was through Instagram. But then you're like, she didn't even know who he was. And like, then he's found a winner at that point.
Yeah, no, that's perfect.
What's worse, having a model girlfriend who's dating you because you're a soccer player, or finding a girl that doesn't know who you are?
Right. And then
use it out afterwards, I'm sure.
Untouchables 96 says, who cares? I want him to score. Me too. I want him to score in all places in life. On the field, off the field. I want him to be happy. I want him to have a happy private life too, because that does translate to the field. Trust me. If you got a fucked up, lonely ass, depressing life at home, private life, I don't think that really helps you on the field. You got to be having things rolling positively everywhere. Golfer girl, I couldn't remember her name.
Yeah, well, I like all those female golfer influencers at this point, man. They do the slow motion hit, barely wearing anything.
Yep. And then she said she noticed how many followers he had, said Untouchables. And then she realized he was a professional soccer player. And then they exchanged dick and pussy pics, and it was on. It was on like Donkey Kong.
On like Donkey Kong.
Yes. Also, somebody said to Pete on his show, his live show, Derek thinks Brown will be in the March camp. Not entirely accurate. Derek hopes Nathaniel Brown and thinks Nathaniel Brown should be in the March camp. I can't confirm whether he's even been contacted at this point. And I had a back and forth with Brian Shredder today about it. And Brian doesn't know dick about it either yet. He has no idea whether or not Nathaniel Brown's been contacted. Edgar and I went back and forth about how come nobody in mainstream media press knows dick about this. I wrote Doug McIntyre today and said, Doug, you just did another article. I read it. It's good. But how come nobody's in the article about who all the scouts are visiting and who all poaches people or games they're watching? Not a single person named Nathaniel Brown. Like they're going to Frankfurt to watch Nathaniel Brown play. Yet Nathaniel Brown's out there canceling his DFP or his following of the German national team on his social media, which is promising, but nobody's asked. Nobody's asked. Poach the question. And they're like, well, did they really ask Berhalter those? Yes, they did. They asked Berhalter those questions. And by the way, behind the scenes, we got a lot of stuff. We knew about the Keith Peary meeting with him and Ernie, where they met with Keith Peary many years ago. And they're like, hey, let's exchange phone numbers. And Keith Peary's like, nah, I'm good.
Yeah.
Anyhow, Keith Peary, balls to you on that one. Damn. Also, love the Jon Stewart, Jen Psaki thing, by the way. Did you see that?
I think I sent that information to you.
I've always loved Jon Stewart. You might have.
We had a back and forth about that, yeah.
And when Jen Psaki's like, yeah, Rogan and Theo Vaughn are in the, what did she call it? The right-wing ecosystem. And Jon Stewart's like, no, they're not. Those are different beasts. I think you're taking this too far. God bless Jon Stewart. I still think he gets some shit so dead on right still, and I hope that continues. We need Jon Stewart to continue to be Jon Stewart as much as that's possible.
It's just fascinating that nobody, after he retired, nobody really picked up that mantle. I mean, you had obviously people try, but nobody had the same charisma and even the same accuracy, quite frankly.
I don't even agree with some of the stuff on his show, but I still watch it because I don't know, it's still funny. The way he delivers it is funny. Even when I disagree with him, I'm like, all right. Anyhow, also, okay, what else was there? Oh, people were asking me who was the NASL CEO or commissioner that I was in contact with at the time on a regular basis. His name was Bill Peterson.
Oh, yeah, okay.
I think I still have him on my phone. I saw his phone number.
If you give me multiple choice, I wouldn't have remembered that. But
remember him though?
Yeah, I do remember him. Yeah.
Didn't you meet him in Atlanta? Yeah. When you went there?
Yeah.
Yeah. He was a good guy. I mean, he was pretty crazy about keeping in contact with the the teams and the supporters and the leadership and making sure we knew what the plans were going forward. I mean, he got a lot wrong. He'd call me and go, I think we got San Francisco lined up, or I think we got San Diego lined up. So somebody asked me that, and I just want to make sure that's out there. And lastly, the number of people obsessed with how many children Elon Musk has and how many women made all those children, which is 13 children, I think, and 4 different women. He can afford it. Okay? Let's just say he can afford it. So let's just not push that as your anti-Musk narrative. There are other things you can go after if you want to. There's specific programs or whatever that cuts you don't like. Go after that. But his children and his 4 girlfriends, that's going nowhere. Let's just stop it. But it's all over my X feed. Just stop it. Let's move on to something like legit, because that's not an issue. Not for him, it's not, and it won't be for you either. So, all right. That's it, Brett. That's all I had on my mind.
That's all you got?
Yeah, I know, a whole 20 minutes worth of fucking, things on my mind, I guess.
There are a lot of things to bring up to talk about. I got a couple of other things, then we'll jump right into some soccer topics here, guys.
Okay.
Don't you worry.
All right.
Colin Reese has come out and tagged us on a tweet showing us, hey, Derek, I see your shark phobia.
Yeah, I do have that.
I'll see that and raise you a new phobia.
New phobia for Derek. Okay.
Yeah. Says hippos were always my favorite animals growing up, but this is a terrifying and awful story. The guides with the guns turned around and walked away right before the attack. Safari company sued after hippo kills New Jersey woman. Guys, don't fuck around. I'm not going to click on the video because we've been getting docked on all of the animal videos we've been posting.
Yeah, we can't do it anymore.
But don't fuck around with hippos.
No, hippos, rhinos.
They kill more people. They kill more people in Africa than any animal.
So I have no fear of hippos, and the reason is I will never be visiting Africa anytime soon. Actually, I will be never visiting anywhere that requires me to fly there. So that pretty much the rest of the world.
They could break out of the zoo, man.
I am not flying anywhere, and it's not just because of all the recent weird shit going on with flying. I just don't trust human beings at this point. I don't like flying. I never did like flying. Like, I will fly if you allow me to shoot up some heroin before I get on the flight. Until that, or take a couple perks.
It's got nothing to do with the recent activities on planes, but until they clean their act up, I'm not going on a plane.
I don't want to go on a plane. It makes me nervous. It makes me feel, because I've had some horrible plane experiences. And I've talked about that on this show before, where the plane fell out of the sky for like 30 seconds and we all thought we were going to die. And then it finally lifted up at the last second before we slaughtered 1,000 people in New York City. So I'd rather not fly. And if I do, I want to be drugged heavily if I'm required to fly. How's that?
Colin specifies that she was on foot. Yeah, a lot of people think, similar to, like, say, crocodiles and alligators and stuff like that, who are fast underwater, that once you get on land, you'll be fine. But hippos can run. Man.
Oh yeah,
something like 23, 30 miles an hour.
Yeah, they're
I don't
fast.
know how long they can run, but they can certainly outpace a good number of human beings. We'll put it that way.
And once they get momentum, look out, because that's a lot to stop. I would not mess with hippos. Remember the game Hungry Hippos?
Yeah.
They still make that? You think?
Of course they do. Yeah, we had for my kids until they lost all the little marble balls.
Of course, that's what happens to everybody.
They do that on purpose because you can actually go online and purchase just the balls.
Just the marbles. They're marbles, right?
Well, they're plastic. They're not actual marbles.
Were they always plastic? I thought early on in my childhood they were actual marbles.
Great question. Don't know. Jasper says, don't visit Colombia either. Colombian hippos.
I did not know that Colombia had hippos, but thank you for that. I had no intention of visiting Colombia. My Coke habit is long over. So
S27 says I could take a hippo.
What do you mean, from behind or
perhaps
in the ass?
Because my agility has the hippos beat.
Okay,
it's like a bull. You have the red toro. The bull comes and you see those ones of the guys that barely move out of the way, and they're like, "Hello,"
Hey man, you give me a tree and I can avoid a hippo too. It has nothing to do with agility. It's just keeping that tree between me and the hippo.
A surprising unknown fact: hippos can climb trees.
Okay, stop it, Brett. Misinformation. All right, for the 159 of you here now, make sure you like, subscribe, share it with your grandma. Give your stepsister a kiss on the cheek. My mother-in-law's hippo. Yeah, I think all of us at one. Well, no, I never had. My mother-in-law was in fairly good shape.
I have no problem with my mother-in-law. As far as, because usually it's like, the mother-in-law's coming into town. Nope, don't got that problem.
Yeah. S20 says crocodiles are the most terrifying animal. I have to disagree. I think sharks are still tiger, bull, great white.
Do you ever see the videos of like the people that like go swimming with crocodiles and like just swim underneath the crocodiles, and the crocodiles can't see apparently, like underneath them?
Yeah.
Because their eyes are like this.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. But then again, I say the same thing about the that one chick that goes swimming with sharks and then just pushes them aside.
Tiger sharks particular, she seems to be pretty good at. I haven't seen her with the other ones. Like, you wouldn't fuck around with a bull shark like that.
I wouldn't fuck around with any sharks.
I wouldn't do it with any shark, personally.
I wouldn't go in the water with a whale shark.
Even though they're very harmless, yeah.
Yeah, as they go up there, and then you just get sucked in. You're like, oh, shit.
What if they got
the video of the humpback whale that ended up coming up surface to eat like whatever he was eating? And it took
the boat.
It was a kid in a kayak.
Yeah.
As it went underwater, the humpback spit the kayak and the kid out. And the kid resurfaced. First off, there'd be no way in hell I'd be out on a kayak on the ocean. Second off, after that happened, I'd back on that kayak, get landlocked.
Yeah, exactly. I'm not going out in the ocean, period. That's the end of the story. And some people go, oh, well, there's so much you're missing, like surfing and, the great outdoors in the ocean and the smell of the ocean. Fuck all that. I don't need it. I don't need it. I am happy right here doing my research at home on my laptop. All right. What else you got, Brett?
We probably should have brought this up when you talked about your VPN, but Ohio lawmakers have proposed a new law that bans men from ejaculating without intent of conception. Would fine men up to $10,000 per ejaculate.
Wow.
First off, I want to know how they're going to be monitoring this. We will install cameras in every Ohioan Buckeye. We'll just call Buckeyes. Every Buckeye house and apartment. I mean, unless they're busting in, I guess they can track. They can track. They're trying to already track the porn as far as making you fill in your driver's license information. So they just periodically do drive-by searches.
Yeah, I guess they would check your garbage to see if there's tissue in there with any sperm. They just do quick with their hobnail boots. They knock on your door and say, "We'd like to. We need to examine all of your tissue that's in your garbages to see if they're
be a phone for life." Yeah, how many? Derek's been purchasing a lot of tube socks recently.
No. That's younger years, my brother. No two
I'm
socks down.
rolling with the checking the tissues in the dumpster and all that, Derek. I'm just running with the fact that it could be okay, fine. Derek's been buying a lot of tissue paper recently. Maybe he's going through another breakup. I don't know.
You know what? I still have this unopened box of KY. See, unopened. Yeah. So I don't use it actually. It's not that I'm not doing it. It's just I don't need it because I got other methods. You know, there's always this.
Wait a second. Micah says they're trolling the pro-life reps in the state. I mean, is this a left politician?
This is a troll. Yeah, they're trolling because they know this is never going to pass.
Oh, brought forward by there you go, Democratic state rep. Okay, I got it now.
Yes.
Okay.
Untouchables. I do not own a fleshlight. No, I don't. And I just that seems like to me, that would be weird having this big thing that you ram your cock. I just think I don't know. I'd rather use my hand. That's more personal. I don't know about fleshlights. I've never had one, never tried one. I'm sure they're spectacular. I don't know. Just feel weird.
I mean, every now and then you see like a little ad pop up, and it shows like kind of like a fleshlight, but an automated one, with a not hydraulic press by means, but it is pulling it back and forth. And I'm just sitting there going like, I wouldn't want to stick it inside there at all. I'm like, what's happening?
I know it's a little freaky. I don't know. It's too much technology, but there you go.
Green Great Basin says, "I love all the soccer talk."
We're getting there. We're
almost there. We're almost there.
We already had some talk. We talked about Pulisic, etc. Anyhow,
yeah.
What else we got?
We got the debate of the century right now. A Twitter handle by the name of @ReadyWasHere.
Okay.
Says, according to Americans, this isn't a burger.
No, it's a chicken sandwich.
No, but it's in between two hamburger buns.
Still a sandwich.
Ergo, a hamburger.
No, it's a chicken sandwich.
That's what I said. It's a chicken sandwich.
Yeah.
So I mean, obviously, all the Americans came out and go, "No, that's a chicken sandwich. That's not a burger.
It's not a burger."
They're like, look at all the Americans coming out saying this isn't a burger. I'm like, you're dumb.
Burger has fucking beef in it.
Well, that's the thing, true. The hamburger is you can have the hamburger without the bun itself. The bun itself is just describing usually what type of bun you use for a hamburger.
Right.
Hamburger bun.
Right, exactly.
As Alex says, it's a chicken burger.
Right. Yep. Indeed.
So this spawned the whole conversation as far as what is a burger, what is a sandwich. And we had a nice back and forth. Somebody came forward and said, "I'm going to die on this hill, but my take is that a hot dog is an actual open-faced sandwich."
Okay, that's fine, but I mean, open-faced sandwiches, that's sort of a European thing anyhow. We don't do that in the United States much, honestly.
Yeah, a Philly cheesesteak-ish, if you will.
Kind of, but that's just a split bun.
Sub sandwich?
That's split bun.
A hot dog bun is a split bun.
I know, but it's not an open-faced sandwich.
Yeah, I know, man. You look at the definition of sandwich, and I can say it.
Oh,
okay?
no, it's a sandwich. It's just not an open-faced sandwich. Like, that's a totally different thing.
Our resident Chicagoan says, hot dogs are hot dogs. Fuck off.
I agree. They are. Leave it at that. All right.
Well, that's the thing. That's the argument there. A burger is a burger because it's a hamburger, regardless of whether or not it's on a bun or if it's wrapped around lettuce. It's still the hamburger is describing the meat itself. Same thing with a hot dog. Hot dog is describing the meat itself, not the fact that it's an actual sandwich or anything like that.
Right. Amphibian says this shit is so dumb. People say shit differently in different areas. There's no absolute correct term. I'm totally cool with that.
This is a chicken fucking sandwich. There's no burger here.
I'm fine with it, but I still find it, kind of funny. All right.
In no plausible reality would this ever be called a burger.
Yes. Do you guys get scam threats in your emails, says Colin?
Oh, what a great topic to bring up, because I think over the course of like the last week, I've gotten like 4 or 5 of the, hey, you need to pay your toll bill. Click on this link.
Me too. Yep.
And I sat there the first time I got it, go, wait a second, when the fuck was I on a toll road last?
It's like, dumbasses, I don't live in Kentucky. Stop it.
Or Michigan. I-90 is a toll road.
Oh, I guess there's that for you. But the only last time I visited south of the border here and had to drive through Kentucky where there are tolls is October of last year. So there you go. Of the year before.
Says you got to pay that toll for that boy's soul.
I guess so. All right, let's get on to the soccer.
I hope that was what you're going with, by the way.
Maybe. Who knows? All right, thanks to all of you that come out, all 179 of you right now. Make sure you like, subscribe, share it with your grandma. Sorry I missed 169. I also missed 69. My bad.
I appreciate S27 who's going to act as my attorney or just middleman to pay my toll road. I'll send you that information shortly.
Absolutely. In fact, he'll send you the straight red card account number.
Speaking of scams,
yes,
there was a company over in Europe who took power ratings of all the leagues around the world and gauged the power ratings of all the leagugues.
Okay, I'm excited by this.
I'm not going to show the ratings of all the leagues and everything like that because I think we did that a couple shows back. We kind of brought it up and talked about it. So I'm not going to bring it back up. But I'll bring up somebody else talking about this.
Okay. MLS is already top 10 league. Their best bet is slow down on expansion and focus their efforts on being top 5, which IMO is achievable within 6 years.
No, I think the reason you sent this to me, not necessarily that the argument of whether or not MLS is a top 10 league, but twofold here. One, I don't believe you believe that MLS is going to slow down its expansion.
Hell no.
And then two, that if they did slow down and within 6 years we'd be a top 5.
Yeah, neither one of those things are happening. We're not going to be a top 5 league like in 6 years because we're going to first have to deal with the fact that we need to understand that we are a selling league. Like even the Dutch have had to embrace that. They understand it. And this is a country that's won multiple Champions Leagues, right? So with Ajax and other. So at some point you have to know what you are.
And let's just say, for sake of argument, that MLS from top to bottom becomes an overall better league than League.
Yeah.
How in the hell are we absolutely going to ever gauge that?
Yeah, it's impossible to know.
The top 5 leagues, you're generally going to just flat out say top 5 are always going to be a European league.
Club World Cup, that may be how to gauge it.
A one-off game against sometimes where players or teams don't even play their best players? Because do a lot of the teams really?
We don't know that yet. We don't know what this new version of the Club World Cup will require teams to do.
Well, Greece won the Euros at one time. At one point, does that mean that they're the best team in Europe?
No.
So these one-off tournaments and stuff like that, it's a hard way to gauge it, and it's hard to say. Well, MLS is better than this league here. Well, what's the gauge against that? Because MLS plays against MLS, and then they play in CONCACAF Champions League,
and they play Mexican teams a lot.
So it's unless Europe goes bankrupt, I can't imagine. Unfortunately, I can't imagine MLS ever be considered a top location.
Yeah,
unless they just get enough stupid money somehow. And right now they're not going to get enough stupid money to do that. But if they get enough stupid money, maybe.
So as far as leagues that are definitely better than MLS, obviously England, I'd say Germany.
Yep.
Spain,
Italy,
France, Italy, Portugal. At least the best teams in Portugal.
And that's what we're starting to get into some murky grounds here.
We are.
You're looking at, what's the bottom of MLS versus the bottom of Portugal?
Exactly. And then you say the same thing about the Dutch league. Okay, yeah. PSV, Feyenoord, Ajax. Then it gets kind of murky, right? It starts to drop off.
Yeah.
Because then when you're talking about 20 and even Utrecht, who's fallen off a cliff for the last 6 games, outside of the tie this weekend.
And not even taking into consideration Brazil or Argentina.
Right.
Currently our feud against Liga MX. And the funny thing is that people are looking like, well, the couple teams that dominate Champions League the better way to look at Liga MX versus MLS is looking at nations or looking at League's Cup. I'm like,
Yeah.
you mean the cup that Liga MX teams are like, I don't want to do this.
Yeah. No, it would be cool to have a tournament where we could figure this out with, let's say, every league had to bring 4 teams to the tournament, and it would be the 1st, 4th, 8th, and 12th best team in the league.
Mm-hmm.
Right? So that really gives you the depth of the league. So every league brings those, and then they play a head-to-head tournament on the same day versus another league's 1st, 4th, 8th, and 12th. And then the aggregate winners move on to the next round. And then those 4 teams play 4 teams from the next league that made it to the second round. Like, that would be crazy, but you certainly learn which leagues had more depth, right? You would. So
is it not Liga MX?
Liga MX.
Am I MXs?
Liga MX, yeah.
I thought it was pretty damn fucking close.
It's close enough, Brett. It's close enough, buddy.
Or is it Mexi?
I wouldn't worry about it.
I don't know. I don't. I mean, one thing I don't take pride in myself is my ability to pronunciate anything.
Pronounce.
There you go. My point exactly.
Pronunciate. I like it. I mean, that is a word too.
It's a Bretism, but that's true. It's not a Bretism actually, because that isn't in fact a word. It was just the wrong usage of said word.
Liga MX. Yeah. All right. What else we got? We could do this debate all night, and I don't want to because we've already done it.
Dos Equis.
Liga MX.
Okay.
Equis. Liga MX.
I didn't add the ES sound to it.
Liga MX.
No, I'm really.
MX.
So there's a Ted Lasso episode where he's like plan. Now I said that word too many times. How do you say that word? And plan. And they keep fucking around with it. It's a whole Black Sheep movie. You remember Black Sheep, the movie?
Oh, yeah.
When he was like, they're getting all high on the nitrous.
Mm-hmm.
And he's like, man, this map is so heavy. It's so full of roads. I don't even know how to say that word anymore.
Roads.
Now I'm stuck on Liga MX. I'm saying MX. That's what I say. I'm missing an S, apparently.
All of language is totally a mindfuck when you really start thinking about it. The fact that Farfanugan is a word, or Schadenfreude,
Farfanugan.
It's just all kind of crazy when you start thinking about it. Even the word that. What is that really? THAT. That.
We went bowling for Jackson's late birthday with all of our friends and stuff like that, and everybody kept hitting 9s. So every time somebody would hit a 9, we just yell out 9.
No. And the Germans were like, "What are they yelling no for all the time?" Yeah. All right. What else we got?
Okay. What else is next?
By the way, I'm still drinking the Taxman double. It's not great. It's acceptable. But I bought a 4-pack, so I got to drink. I drink one every Thursday. Every Monday and Thursday. Go ahead.
I will say I order Dos Equis all the time, so I should say Liga MX.
That's cool. That's good.
There you go.
Yeah.
There you go.
This is funny by Ivan.
Yeah. Okay. Fine. I hear the difference now, guys.
Yeah. We start asking people like Brian, then, who actually put on dual nats. At least we know he has some knowledge on the subject compared to Doug or Paul. Yeah. I mean, Brian's gonna know. That's kind of his thing. Yanks Abroad was once somebody he wrote for, and Brian did reply to me and say he has absolutely zero knowledge or updates on Nathaniel Brown. Nothing. So if he doesn't have anything, I don't really think that Doug or Paul are not going to know who Nathaniel Brown is. Some people were saying that. They do know. The question is, why haven't they inquired with U.S. Soccer or Poach over the last months that Poach has been the manager about Nathaniel Brown and his rise to stardom right now for Frankfurt. Another assist this weekend.
Then he follows up by saying, "There's no one more knowledgeable about doing that than Brian Schroeder."
Yeah, giggity. Oh my, wasn't aware of Brian's fetish with gnats. Oh yeah, doing the gnats. Yeah. Oh boy. Anyhow, that was kind of a funny exchange later tonight. So. All right. For the near 200 of you here now on both X and Twitter, make sure you like, subscribe. Make sure you like, for Christ's sake. You're watching the show. There's like 300 people around there by the end of the night who are watching the show. And I look at it when I get the show. There's 100 likes. Like, just up that shit. Hit the like button. I get it. A lot of you on Twitter, you can't do it. I get it. All right. Anyhow, go ahead, Brett.
Well, before we actually play the video of Tact asking Eddie Johnson about Eddie Johnson, yeah.
Eddie Johnson.
I'd verify who I was talking about here. That's Eddie Johnson as far as his experience in Europe compared to MLS and stuff like that. I want to build this up by saying that that Eric Ronaldo came on and quoted this thread by Tact. And said, he Eddie does a great job of explaining, what it's like over abroad. But if you've never been abroad, it's hard to explain. And he's kind of doing this whole this roundabout way of saying, like, hey, it's difficult saying exactly why it's difficult abroad, but it is difficult abroad.
I don't think it's that difficult to explain.
Well, somebody came on and goes, I don't want to pull up the thread and everything like that because I don't have time for doing that. But somebody's like, Eddie did fine doing this. Your boy Lalas did okay explaining this. X, Y, and Z said this, and it seems like the only ex-Nat that has a difficulty explaining it is you. And I go, I responded to the guy, and I'm like, hey, you know what? Eric had no problem explaining it on our show.
He laid it out. I don't understand why he's having a difficult time now.
Well, and Eric goes, you must be new to the conversation here.
To you?
Basically, like, no, to the other guy.
Oh, yeah.
Because Eric's absolutely explained it. Yes. I don't think people understand Eric online. On Twitter, it's one thing. It's like
I don't think I understand Eric sometimes.
People get Lawless wrong, and they bite at the trolling that Lawless does.
Mm-hmm.
Eric isn't a troll most of the time, but he'll say stuff that kind of like throws people for a loop, and it's just like clearly you don't follow him enough to know how he's referring to something,
Yeah, I mean, but he can be a confusing guy, and there's a lot going on in Eric's brain. There's no doubt in my mind. I remember when he showed up for our show at 8:15 a.m. And I was like, Eric, he was texting me. He's like, I'm here. Are we going? I'm like, 8:15 p.m., Eric. We don't, our show's not at 8:15 a.m. Oh, I didn't see that. Yeah. Well, I sent you the date and the time, and PM was on there. We're doing 8:15 a.m. shows.
You're like, bro, I can't follow on my I was once a former player ability to form a career outside of, so I've got an actual job.
He's just a busy guy. He's a busy guy upstairs. He had a lot of things going on. He was coaching. And something going on with his daughters at the time.
He's on XM Radio or whatever it is. And then he's got his family he's got to deal with, and he's coaching. Yeah, I agree. He's a busy dude.
Which is why I was really had hope that he would not remember the 2011 incident.
You keep bringing it up, man. You keep picking at that scab, man. That's what you're doing.
Yeah, I mean, he didn't remember, which is good.
Remember, he's eventually going to remember if you keep talking about it.
He's not going to know what to remember. But
should I be remembering something?
I mean, we were friends before. He just doesn't remember it. That's the great part.
Yeah,
all right,
you know so many people, Derek. You know so many fewer people than
Yeah,
on a
listen,
day-to-day basis. That's soccer related. Now, mind you may deal with more people as well, but as soccer related topics are concerned.
That was 14 years ago. I don't expect him to remember me, big soccer, or our show at all. Thank God. Yeah. Boy, because that email still lives in my memory very clearly from him.
Hey, you have a potential soccer hero to look up to that's not whatever.
I was horrified by it. At the time,
exactly.
So I was like, "Oh my God, Eric Ronaldo hates me now."
Watch your SR content. It's a joke. I swear to God.
We're just joking. All right. Anyhow, those of you who've been watching the show know exactly what incident we're talking about. It's come up on here before, and I thought, "Oh my God, Eric Ronaldo is going to come on our show. I hope he doesn't remember this." He didn't. Thank God. All right. Anyhow, and then with Lalas, we just talked it out, right? He did know.
Well, so. he claims he's like, "Oh, I don't even know what you're talking about. That viral video of yours, bullshit."
Mm-hmm.
Bullshit.
Exactly.
No, bullshit, Lalas. I'm sorry, buddy. No bullshit. You know exactly what video we're talking.
He's like, whatever it is, it's water under the bridge.
Yeah, exactly. It's like
whatever it was.
I have people sending me death threats, not even in my DMs, just on my threads on Twitter. I mean, whatever you said, it's like that's softball.
But we did bring up on the show. Remember, you were a dick to me in Indianapolis. He's like, "I'm so sorry, I don't remember it, but I'm sure."
Well, that I don't blame him for. We at a crosswalk. It's like, "Yo, Lalas!" Like he's like,
I didn't say "Yo, Lalas." I came up and introduced myself.
Caricature of you, Derek.
Okay. Yeah, that's how I am in public. "Hey, Lalas! Hey, bitch!" That's not what I do.
I want to talk to you.
All right. Anyhow, all funny inside joke things that people who watch the show regularly already know we've talked about before.
Starfish Prime wants to know where to find the OG rant. Are you referring to the Lalas rant or are you referring to the Ronaldo rant? Because that's two totally different topics.
I think they're probably talking about the jizz rant.
No, the Lalas one, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Jizz shooting all over the walls, the Ferrera jizz.
I'll have to sort back through and I'll just retweet it. So that way, we'll pick up some more ground.
I can tell you from sources for a fact, Hercules Gomez.
It went all through ESPN and Fox.
Yes.
It went everywhere. Everybody saw that shit.
Everybody saw it. And they were laughing their asses off, unless their name was Stu Holden and Alexi Lalas. They were not laughing, but the rest of them were laughing.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
I mean, the only Holden thing you said was every time Holden talks, you want to stab yourself in the eye with an ice pick.
Yeah. He caught a stray in that one.
Yeah, that wasn't necessarily about him. He just happened to get brought up. And we've talked about this a lot, but my favorite part of that whole rant was when you started to die off. And you're like, okay, it's Derek's winding down. Yeah. And then all of a sudden, I'm like, oh, hey, Derek, how many times did you hear about the double hat trick? Oh, my God.
Motherfucking. I just lost it again. All right. Anyhow, if you can find that, if somebody has it, somebody reposted it.
If somebody doesn't repost it,
in October, somebody reposted it in October, and I had a link to it. Now I've lost it again.
I thought I bookmarked that shit, but I'll go back and take a look.
1.3 million views. All right.
Could have been our views. Could have been ours, but the guy did it before us. He clipped us before us. And
yep. Good for him. Smart guy.
Hey. The only bad thing about that is that he's not verified, so it doesn't do him any good.
It doesn't. It really doesn't. Yep.
And that's why the guy that did the whole Canadian rant as far as like, we're not doing this, we're not doing that. I mean, these people who do this stuff, I'm like, guys, you guys aren't even verified. Get verified first before you do these hot takes. I mean,
yep.
At least earn something for that shit, man.
Yeah. Yeah. So I don't know where to find the video anymore. Sorry, Jack.
Jack, I'll find it. If somebody else doesn't post or tag us in it, I'll find it and I'll post it.
Hard to believe that reached 1.5 million people, but yes.
It started its own Reddit thread.
It did. Yeah. Reddit.
Like, oh, these assholes. I can't believe this guy, blah, blah, blah. I'm like, guys, you're fucking Reddit. Shut up.
Yeah. I think that's a good name for it, Starfish. Jizz Rant. That's a good one. Yep. All right. Eddie Johnson, who kind of played for Fulham, did play in Greece with Freddie Adu briefly. but he discusses his time at a Fulham. I think this is mostly what he's talking about here, and how hard it was.
Well, let's listen.
It's eye for an eye over there. Like the Europeans don't talk to you. They don't pass you the ball. They look at you as an outsider coming in trying to take one of their mates' spot. They're gonna make it difficult for you, you know. And when I saw that, it's like I remember being a young pro in America when I was 17. You're 17 years old, and then I remember when the foreign players would come to the MLS. You know, it's hey, we're shaking their hands. How are you? Can I go get you a coffee? Oh, this is where you put your boots at. And this is where it's like we make it so freaking welcoming for them and easy for them. And then they come over here and there's no real like anxiety and nerves, where it's like we go over there and no one talks to you. No one wants to pass you the ball. You know,
well,
and then, you know, just seeing that, just like the mentalities were different, you know.
I think that's changed, Brett. I really do. I don't see it. I mean, it was a problem when Sargent got to Norwich at first, and then we called out Sargent for not demanding the fucking ball. And now we see him do it all the time. We see him say, hey, you fucking missed me. I was fucking wide open. And he's putting his arms down and saying, pass me the fucking ball. And now they all know he's the man, so he doesn't have to do it anymore. Everybody wants to pass him the ball. But then we watched Josie Altidore at Sunderland. Like, it was hilarious back then. We would watch the games. No one would pass him the ball. Like, he literally never touched no one. He could be wide open. No one would pass Josie Altidore the ball at Sunderland. So that's different. It's all changed. I don't think that's a thing. I think people are comfortable passing it to McKennie and Weah and Pulisic, and well, nobody passes it to Adams unless they're passing it backwards, but still, nobody got a problem with it. I think those days are over, but I think what he's saying is, yes, there was a time when that was the case, and there were just a handful of players who could overcome it. McBride, Dempsey, right? Landon Donovan in his brief stints at Everton, people passed him the ball. But there was a time, and I noticed this with Eddie Johnson. I think a lot of people were kind of like, maybe they didn't want to pass it to him and they think he was very good. You could make that argument if you want to. But I think that certainly for Josie, that was a big-time problem while he was there. And maybe that's because Josie wasn't very good. I don't know. I don't think that's necessarily true or it's fair. But then Josie was horrible, too, when he did get the ball. And, you know, so there's that, too. I think those days are, for the most part, fading away. I don't know if you'd agree with that.
Yeah, I guess to an extent. I mean, I feel like most Yanks at this point are establishing themselves within the team itself as a whole.
Right.
So I don't think it's necessarily the same. I mean, you had like I said, when Ola was on our show and he was talking about how people would be, you know, not necessarily
outright hostile.
But yeah. I mean, downright. You know, you're talking about the Yank here and talking about, you know, insert explicit. You know,
we called him Scheist.
So it's just
Scheist Young, right? They called him a shitty Scheisse. They called him an American piece of shit, basically.
Yeah.
Right?
So, I mean, definitely things have changed, I think, quite frankly. Yeah,
I think that those days are gone. I think we had all the people who broke that barrier in Germany. I don't think that was, I think it was early on bad for Wijnaldum, but I am absolutely sure that is no longer the case in Germany. In England, yeah, I'm sure there's still like, but I think, you know, for the most part, if you're talking about Sargent or even Haji Wright and Aronson, although there were times today in that Leeds game where I thought fucking Aronson was wide open and nobody passed him the fucking ball today. And I was thinking, God, is that really because they didn't see him or they just didn't want to pass him the ball or they're not looking for him? I don't know. But if you're a CAM, you got to have more than 2 assists in a season. And that's where Aronson is right. He's got 8 goals. That's great. But I thought, you know, but now you go to Holland definitely not the case. The best player on Utrecht is Paxton Aronson. They look for him constantly. And the same would be true at PSV.
He's leading goal scorer for Utrecht, isn't he not?
Yeah. Same would be true with Tillman and Pepe when he got to play. I don't think anybody had any doubts about their skills, and like they are obviously part of the team. And Reyna, again, he doesn't play much, but I don't think the players are like, oh, I don't want to pass it to Reyna. He's got no skills. Those days are gone. Those days, I think, are gone. If you have that problem, it might be because you're not good enough. And I don't see that anywhere right now. I don't see players getting that treatment that EJ's talking about. So I think we're beyond that. And the fact is, and somebody brought up race, I don't know if it's race, because Wijnaldum was shit all over. And then we talk about McBride's first stint at Preston North End was not anything to write home about. And I don't think he got many passes. But, I think you just have to prove yourself. And once you do.
You said McBride?
McBride, yeah, when he played for Preston North End, first run.
Oh, for North End, okay.
Yeah, not at Fulham.
I was going to say, I think Fulham had no problem sending him the ball.
Yeah, so it could be, can't say for sure, but just saying, I don't know. Didn't seem to matter back in the day. As long as you were American in the old days, they're like, who the fuck is this dumbass on our team? This fucking Yankee piece of shit, which they literally called Wijnaldum a piece of shit in German to his face back in the old days. So,
yeah.
All right. Those days, I think, are gone. They're gone for the most part.
America is just like we're so accepting people, whereas over there, like I said, like if I didn't have Dempsey and the McBride and the Boca Negras with me, it would have been a lot rougher than it was when I first went over there. And so in terms of mentality, yes, every training session is like a goddamn, it's a
goddamn war. He didn't mention Keller, who's also on that team. That's back when Fulham was goddamn I think I remember starting lineup being McBride, Dempsey, Bocanegra, Keller, and then Johnson came in as a sub. 5 fucking U.S. players. I might be getting that wrong, but I'm pretty sure that happened. In my mind, at least, I remember that happening. But that's a lot of Americans on one team. Anyhow, American owner, I think that's when the new guy took over, the guy that owns the Panthers. But I might be wrong, too. My memory, Fulham memory, it gets a little shady about when the ownership changed and when all the players were on there in the same time. But at one point, it was crazy. And I loved it. Because I'd been a Fulham fan since Eddie Lewis first arrived there many years ago. But I really became a Fulham fan when McBride got there and was scoring goals and became a cult hero at Fulham. So anyhow, that's probably enough, Eddie. That's what he had to say. Good enough.
Just cutting them off. I see how it is.
Poor
Eddie can't get his whole thought process in without Derek chiming in and just cutting him off.
Yeah, he said enough. We got the point.
I agree. That's basically what he was saying.
Yeah.
It was shit was tough in Europe. But when you come to Europe and when you come to MLS and everything like that, everybody's like, hey, that's where the coffee's at. This is where you get massage. That's where you get the happy endings.
Of course it is, especially if you're David Beckham.
Yeah.
They're rubbing your balls before the game. Mr. Beckham, can I please rub your balls before the game?
You. Hey-o.
Yes. Let's give you a gentle tug as well, if that's what you need. All right. For the 216 of you here right now, make sure you like, subscribe, share it with your grandma on both X and YouTube. We do appreciate it. Good to have you here. We were getting to the topics, soccer topics as they drop. What do we got, Brett?
Well, we are on to one of our favorite topics of the whole show.
Transfer news, transfer news. Who's getting mounted on transfer news? Who's getting over on transfer news? Transfer news. Everyone loves that transfer news. Whatever.
All right.
Whatever.
How was I on?
I can barely hear you, Derek. So no idea.
Probably for the better. All right. Holy crap, that's small. That's like a micro penis. Can we blow that up? Okay, that's more attractive. That's hotter.
Clicked on shit while I was trying to scroll through to get to something. Don't worry. And then I accidentally clicked on a different thing. So something popped up on my screen. No, I don't have a direct link to porn. I've got to go diving through, for obvious reasons. Don't want people finding it when I pass away. I don't want them going through my computer and be like, "Oh, look at that." So,
when you pass away, what difference does it make?
That's great. Well, I mean, I still got kids and family and stuff.
They're like, "Yeah, Brett was really into that."
Holy shit, he enjoyed that. What's that about?
Brett's really into that pegging shit. Wow, can you believe that, Mom?
Holy
Dad was totally into pegging, and EB will go, "I know." And don't you say a word about it to anybody. You'll be fine. All right. Markadge News. This guy again. Really?
Massive grain of salt, guys. Massive grain.
This guy. Yeah. I'm just sad he gets as many views for this kind of total jerk off shit. Borussia Dortmund winger Cole Campbell is attracting loan interest from Swiss Super League side FC Luzern. The 18-year-old is featured in 4 Bundesliga matches this season for around 19 minutes. He actually came in 2 of those games all over the field. He came.
Oh, okay.
He jizzed on the field in 2 of those games in under 19 minutes. No contact has been made as of yet for the American. Well, then why the fuck are you posting this? You jack off? Sorry, I should have called him a name. Why? I know why you're posting it. 2 sources close to the club have confirmed that Luzern are fucking infatuated with fucking Cole Campbell. Great. I think Cole Campbell could probably go play for a lower level Bundesliga team or a promoted team on loan next season. You don't need to go to Switzerland like Conrad. He's not a fucking, there are no issues with his behavior or his attitude. He doesn't need to go to fucking Switzerland. Not necessary. So he'd be better off going to Bundesliga, honestly. So yeah, this is just jizz splattered on a wall for people to click on. And I don't give a shit about the 2 sources because they're probably stupid too. So there we go.
Okay.
Okay. This is a stupid report. Okay. This is clickbait. Okay.
Definitely.
All right. Clickbait is bad. Okay. All right. Rokstas Pukstas has only played 19 minutes of football in 2025. I don't know what's going on there, but they wanted to sell him really bad and they couldn't. And now they're like, yeah, just go ride Pine. Bitch. What is going on with Rokstas Pukstas and Hayduck Split? I don't know. Maybe we should call Frankie Hayduck and figure it out.
It's beyond me in the sense that he was a consistent player for the team nonstop.
Mm-hmm.
And then all of a sudden he wants out. I mean, maybe this isn't a surprise. He wants out, and then he can't get sold. And then all of a sudden he doesn't play.
Yep. Which, by the way, in the end, hurts them selling him in the future. So that's on them. I don't know if they had a recent coach change. Maybe not. Maybe they did. I don't know. I don't really follow Hayduck Split except to figure out whether Rokstas Spooks is played. And then there's nowhere to watch it. So I don't bother with that either. So I don't know. It's unfortunate. But if that's the case, just go play in Switzerland somewhere. Go play at Luzern. Or you're still young, so go play with young boys. Young boys. You know the team I think is great? I love Grasshopper. I hope they get back to the first division. I want them to go play for Grasshopper. Love that name of that team. The Grasshopper. Grasshopper FC.
Never would have imagined that would be a name of a team at all. And we get a lot of shtick for our domestic league team names. So,
oh, by the way, all of you need to be letting Tact and Pete know. All of you need to be letting Tact and Pete know that Brett and I, as pictured on the t-shirt, as Beavis and Butthead, need to be the official mascots of their fucking team that they're going to be playing in that $1 million tournament, which I can't remember right now. Right?
Yes, they should.
We should be the mascots, and we shouldn't have to pay to be on, like, the team logo or whatever. Like, it should just be on there.
We won't charge them likeness rights.
We won't.
Or likeness. So
absolutely not.
I mean, we're being the nice ones here.
I think so. Anyhow, I put that up there, and then Tack liked it, so we'll see what happens.
Yeah, exactly.
I haven't texted him in a week or so.
Imagine Tack's team. He's off on the sideline coaching them because he only has no knees, so he can't play. But he's out there coaching, and he's named, the Beavis and Butthead, Derek and Brett are on their chests.
He's been wearing our shirt a lot lately.
Well,
so good for that. I mean, it's a fantastic shirt. I mean, you're not going to find a better soccer shirt out there. There's two of them. There's the one with our logo, and there's the one with Beavis and Butthead. Both are amazing. Go down into, if you're on YouTube, you'll see a link. Is that still on there, Brett? The link to our t-shirts?
No, it's not in our link that our description, unless you put it there.
No, I did not.
No, when we do recorded shows and we upload our show, it's automatically there. But when we set it up on StreamYards, it doesn't automatically populate, and you have to put it there.
Fuck, Brett, we're getting fucked in the ass.
I mean, I put it there. I generally put it.
Yeah, you do.
Recently, the last handful of shows, probably not so much, but. I always put it there.
Got to get back to that so we can start pushing our shirts again, because those shirts with that logo, they're the bomb. They're the bomb. All right, and we sold like 200 of them last year, so let's get on that. All right.
Derek did some research, and I had to go find this clip.
Okay.
I couldn't find it on Twitter. But I had to find it on our actual YouTube channel.
Mm-hmm.
So figured for those who have not seen it, let's play it.
Oh God! They fucking stroked goddamn Ferrera's cock for fucking 30 minutes on the pregame show. I mean, you let Ferrera come all over the goddamn set. This was despicable coverage, and they need to fix this. And if they don't fix it, I'm going to keep coming after them and fucking them right up their rectum like they deserve to be.
Derek,
fuck this shit.
How many times in the pregame and how many times during the game did you hear about Ferrera's 2 hat tricks?
Oh, fucking all the time. John Strong mentioned it so many times, I think he came in his fucking pants. I swear to God. This is the worst coverage I have ever seen of a Gold Cup in my whole fucking life. And on top of Landon Donovan's stupidity, Lalas' cocksuckery, and fucking John Strom stroking his cock in his own drawers on fucking Jesus Ferreira. This has to be the worst coverage. And Stu fucking Holden being a complete idiot you don't want to listen to because the sound of his voice makes you want to fucking stick an ice pick in your skull. Yes, it was bad. This has been horrible coverage, and it needs to change. It needs to change.
On that note, that is all we have tonight.
That is.
All right, so for those who want to go back and get the whole clip itself, that wasn't the whole thing. There was some before that, but it's our video, our live stream. The U.S. men's national team slipped by Canada.
How'd you find that?
I just had to go back to the year in the summertime and find out which one it was. Yeah.
Oh wow, good.
And
well
basically,
done.
I'd click on it. I have to find out which one had Diego in it because Diego was in there. So.
Listen, as Berto says, probably not the best for your health.
Yeah, so good.
But we need more of this there. Listen, when the time comes, I will not be able to control myself. Yeah. Yes, that will happen again. We'll just see when it happens again.
Derek started losing his voice when going through that rant, like those fucking cocksuckers.
I mean, really, it's not going to kill me. I'll be fine because I don't do that. That's not me on a regular basis. So, and if I do rant, it's usually good. It's something I need to get out of my system. And actually, instead of penting it up inside, like you got to let that rip sometimes. There you go.
Yep.
Suckery. Yeah, I didn't remember saying that.
Then he says, so great. It's been a hot minute since we've had an epic Derek rant. The problem is that Derek's been chumming it up with people recently.
Hey,
all these pundits, all these journalists. Hey, you turn out not bad. But the Derek of old would have ripped them a new one.
No, I'll still rip them a new one. Like, okay, it's gonna help your cause if you talk to me, and then I know you as a human being, it's probably going to be easier. So, but we still have ripped into Lalas for some of his takes since he was on our show, even though he and I exchanged words quite a bit nowadays.
Recent, we've taken Jimmy. We've taken
the Jimmy thing. Yeah,
Jimmy and Chuck. We've taken both of them to task.
Well, Jimmy and I worked that out too, so it's all good. You know, it was bad for like a second, right?
Well,
and then we worked it out.
Bad because there was a disconnect. Once we talked, like, well, okay,
right?
You've got your own personal take.
Yeah. Jimmy will be on the show again, despite the vitriol that was shared between us on his show. And we're all good now. It's all cool. And listen, I think that most of them realize when we're disagreeing with them, it's not fucking personal. Okay? That sounded really personal, though.
It might sound personal, but I mean, and that's the thing. Once people realize that we're colorful folk,
yeah,
we get a little flamboyant as far as descriptive and explicits, but as a whole, I mean, it's not personal. I mean, there's not a single fucking person out there that we may have gone to task on that I wouldn't have back. I even talk about it when we bring it up every now and then, but I would love to have Jake back on the show. Just because.
I don't think Jake does soccer anymore.
I know. I'm using him as an example.
I don't think
I don't have a problem with having anybody on our show and talking to them.
Yeah, I mean, I'll have anybody on that we've disagreed with and had, conflicts with. We've had Eric on the show.
I think at this point they're few and far between as far as who we've had conflicts with.
Jimmy, I would even have Doug McIntyre on the show, and I plan to have him on the show.
We need to get Heath on the show. We need to get Chuck on the show. Chuck especially, because I feel like we've been pretty hard on Chuck over time.
Oh, they've been
for obvious reasons, though.
That's some gentle prodding. If that's an ass fucking, that's like, are you okay?
You know what?
Can I push it in a little further?
You guys can't see because I don't have it pulled up here, but I do have the recent Call It What You Want show up.
Yes.
And Shafaro.
What is that symbol? Derek out here looking
Santa
like
Claus.
Yeah, no, this is Steve Zissou, dude.
Yeah, the original, by the way, and that's one reason I bring that up.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're out here trying to steal. They're out here trying to steal Derek's shtick.
Yeah.
But we'll get into that later, and we'll talk about it. But you know what? Chuck has a 50%. I would say 50%. Not a rare win, but I'm saying like a 50% win here in the sense that he has good takes like 50% of the time, and today he wins over both Mule and Conrad.
No, he does. Sometimes he's the guy who has the real take, while the other guys are stuck in fucking
Disneyland. We keep going.
Old Disneyland.
That's our shtick too. We're going to keep going with that Disneyland
All right, let's do it. Let's do it.
You want to go over that right now?
Yeah, let's do it.
We can do that.
All right. So yeah, some lineups that popped up.
So it's not just you've got a couple.
The
things
roster, yeah.
So let's hear. So they were talking about the big point of their conversation when they talked about the U.S. men's national team is like, well, geez, how's Poach going to use Weah, Musa, and McKinney?
Mm-hmm.
And they're pretty hell-bent. I mean, all three of them are pretty hell-bent on McKinney playing as the dual 10 with Pulisic, the dual 10 inverted winger role. Which I don't know about you, Derek. I'm going to disagree with.
No, I don't think that's how that's going to work at all.
I don't think that's going to be the role he's going to be playing.
There's no evidence of it whatsoever.
At all.
Because Weah and Pulisic played the 10s.
Yes. As far as that inverted winger /
the inverted
10,
wingers,
whatever you want to say. At this point, yes. That seems to be the plan.
And anybody still thinking we're playing a back four, I'm sorry, but that's not happening.
In this situation, I'm not sure if we're going to cover it at all. I've got a couple of timestamps here, but both Jimmy and Tony both want a back four with. Ideally, this is what their hope would be. What they'd like.
That's fine.
Would be Jedi on the left. Insert two center backs here, and then say like a Weah on the right.
It's just not going to happen based on what we know. With Poach so far and who he trusts, and then Dest's health coming in March, which we don't know how healthy he's going to be.
Yeah.
And then listen, people are trying to rile up me and Pete today. Not going to happen. Pete and I are.
That's not a good idea.
Pete and I are.
Well, that was Frank posting a thing about the four back, the debate about the four back.
Yeah, no, it's funny though. Pete and I are friends, so that's just not going to happen. Number one, we're not going to be beating each other up. And then, like, if we'll probably should have Pete on the show back so we can discuss that. But it's pretty obvious to almost everybody, but maybe Pete, which is odd because you would think he would figure that out. But when Scally's playing in the back three on defense, then he's also playing in the back three on offense. That's a back three. Period. End of story. End of fucking story.
It's possible that Pete is saying the same thing that, say, Colin brings up when he talks about the lineups. That we're not playing with the back three. We're kind of playing with the back five because you go based off of your defense.
If you're playing a back three, there's a back five. You're playing three in the middle.
True.
I don't care how you want to finagle that. There's three guys in the middle and two out wide. That's still a back three / back five, which is how the back three is almost always talked about and described. Always. On defense, Musa falls back to the right and Jedi falls back to the left. Other than that, it's a back three, people, because Skelly ain't going nowhere. He's hanging out with the other two center backs.
And Fumar brings up a point that they kind of try to bring into play here with Adams. Playing that Leonard Maloney role as far as a third quote-unquote center back and allowing your actual right back at this point to be able to push up like Jedi does. So that would be the Dest and McKinney, the Dest and Weah role in that sense, in their argument.
Well, okay, that's a fine argument, but they did that already without having Adams. Now, you got Adams, you just got more security, and you do the same fucking thing. You allow Musa to push up and Jedi to continue to push up because you got a three in the back. And by the way, I'm not a massive fan of three in the back. I've been pretty clear about that for years here on this show. But it's working for Poach.
So, and that's the thing, though. We've seen it. We've seen it in one game, quite frankly.
Two.
Well, yeah.
We saw it in 2 games.
I mean, we definitely saw in the Jamaica at home, but the Jamaica away, did we really see that?
Yeah.
I don't know. I'd have to go back and rewatch.
3 in the back.
I mean, Scally definitely didn't push up. I agree with you on that.
No.
But also the argument here is that, well, you still have the 3 in back if Adams sat back with the center backs and the wing backs had the opportunity to move forward, whether it's a Dest Weah, Jedi, whatever. But the big argument here, though, that everybody's ignoring, is that we were only that successful with that back three because we had both Jedi and Tessman sitting in front of them, and they got pushed up and moved around a bit. But as a whole, there was still defensive support by those two players with our back three.
True. I think that Poach is smart enough to play Adams the way he plays at Bournemouth. And if you watch the way Adams plays at Bournemouth as he protects the back line, that dude is all over the pitch. That dude is not in the middle. He's on the right. He's on the left. He is right behind the left midfielder, right behind the right midfielder, right behind the center midfielder. He is backup, and he covers the whole circumference.
He's basically taking the Tessman role in what we saw against Jamaica.
Yes.
Basically, him and Jedi had freedom to move around, but they covered the back three. It would be different than saying if Adams was being asked to play the Leonard Maloney role for Heidenheim.
Yeah, I think it's a different role. I think what Adams does for Bournemouth is different than what Maloney did at Heidenheim. I think that he doesn't stay that far. He's not that far back. You watch the way he plays for Bournemouth. He's kind of there to stop stuff before it starts. That's not like Maloney's role at Heidenheim when he was there was to, when shit starts, I'm going to stop it. Adams at Bournemouth is, I'm going to stop shit from happening at all because I'm going to crush it before it gets going. That's sort of different than being almost another center back, which is what Maloney did right in front of the other two CBs and then dropping back to play almost a third CB role. I don't see Adams being asked to do that, and especially with Adams' improved passing and something about like what he's doing now is like almost a transformation in another level for Adams. Bournemouth with Adams is a absolutely almost, I mean, it's like, I don't care what team they play. It's going to be a bitch to get your shit to counter.
That was the case with Leeds too, quite frankly, until he got injured. And then all of a sudden Leeds
Adams is just right up in your grill immediately when possession changes. Whereas Maloney was more laid back and set back more. And he's like, well, I'm going to cover space. So
he cut the lanes off more so than in your face. Yes.
Now,
that was the problem whenever people were like, what does Maloney do? And we're like, well, he cuts off the lanes and he's reading the game properly in the sense that X, Y, and Z. But it's never going to show up on a stat sheet. What Maloney does.
Adams and Maloney are both destroyers. The difference is Adams going to destroy you further up the field. He's not going to wait to destroy you. Maloney is a little bit more cautious. At least that's what his role with Heidenheim was. That doesn't mean at Mainz.
He is the center back that played a more advanced role for Heidenheim.
Yeah.
That's it. That's all it was.
I mean, yeah, I would agree. I think he's more reserved and he waits for his time. Whereas Adams just up in your fucking grill constantly. Right, left, center. If you watched him, and I tracked this last game this weekend, where he was the whole game, it was unbelievable how much running he does. I can't imagine anybody else on the pitch ran that much in that game. He wasn't right in front of the back line. Mm-hmm. He was a little bit more advanced up, and not enough to be involved in the offense, but certainly enough to be cutting off anything going forward after loss of possession. So there we go.
Green Great Basin says, in quotes, start Aaron Long. And that quote was by Greg Berhalter.
Yeah.
Benny says, what Tony and Jimmy are saying will likely happen at some point, but it won't happen for Nations League in March. The argument is when Dest returns and you have players that can play that role that like Dest, it's sort of like they make the argument for Weah, but I don't want Weah pushed back. I want Weah
the role that Moose is playing for Poach in the last couple games.
But technically yes, but
The big boy games.
Benny's saying that the argument that Tony and Jimmy are making is that when Dest returns, you're gonna play that Poach is gonna play the wing backs, the backs, if you will, like not wing backs, but the backs, like Berhalter, in the sense that Dest and Jedi are both going to get pushed up in the attack.
You can do that,
but that leaves two in the center. It leaves two in the back. That doesn't leave a Scally role.
If we're not playing a back three,
correct. If we're not playing a Scally role,
oh no, that's not happening.
No. So, but that's our take, in the sense that until I see otherwise from Poach.
Right.
I don't believe that there's not going to be a back three, and that the Musa role would just be the argument of whether or not it's going to be Weah or Dest, or if Weah is going to be pushed up higher with the Pulisic role, that dual 10/inverted winger, and then you have Dest playing the Musa role that comes back in defense but has more of an offensive role.
Correct.
What happens with Musa? You have McKennie, Adams. That's the argument that we had. Not necessarily are we going to revert from the three center back, but it's possible. Maybe Poach at some point does change the system. But until we see that, I can't sit here and predict that this is what Poach is going to do until I see him do something.
Yeah, and we don't have a lot of games to go off of either. So
I think the players that Poach has right now, I think that is the system that fits. We saw it in Jamaica. That's the system currently. If Dest returns, does that alter the system? I honestly don't think so.
Yeah, he'll just play the Musa role.
And then
where do you put Musa? Then that's the next question.
Then Musa's got to compete with the other two holding at that point.
Yes, exactly.
So,
yep,
that's a good problem to have. Could you believe a situation where we can swap out McKennie, Musa, Adams at any moment? That's
right.
Nice. That's nice to have.
And you're not putting Dest in the Scally role because. What's the fucking point of that?
Sitting Dest further back, that doesn't make any sense whatsoever.
So now, is there a chance that Poach changes things once we get a super healthy Dest, which by March, even though it's late March, when we do this, how much info will we have on Dest? Because he's still not back. He's still not playing.
March is out of the equation. Dest is not. I don't think Dest is in contention for March. I think he's in contention for Gold Cup.
I think you're right. I think it's too early. Like, how many games are we going to get with Dest playing for PSV before March? 2? 3? Maybe 0?
I think it's going to be 0, man. I mean, he traveled to was it Milan? They played, yeah. They traveled to Milan, but he wasn't part of the game day 23. So he's on the verge of making his return. But is it going to be enough? And will he get more than a game or two at most before Nations League finals? Right. And at that point, off of a game or two, are you even going to take a chance? Say, hey, no, bro, you've been gone for like X amount of months. Why don't you recover completely?
A year.
Yeah. Recover, and then we'll see you again in the summer.
You got
at this point, we're going to do our normal squad. We got our game day squad here, and the argument's going to be who's going to be your back three. Is Scally still going to be your right center back?
I think
Richards
so.
Back, we got McKenzie. There's Ream. There's an argument you can make there.
I think it's Richards, McKenzie, and Scally. If
at some point, you do have to venture away from Ream. He is 30,000 years old at this point.
Right. And you're looking at a McKenzie who, this weekend he was injured, so they didn't bring him on until late, but he's been one of the best center backs in France this season. I don't even think that's even an argument.
He's just recovering from his injury, and he got 20 minutes in the Champions League. So, no, that's not even a question. I think McKenzie, he's healthy now. Come March, we're talking the March game. The first game is March 20th. We're literally talking the first game being a month away. McKenzie's going to be back. That's not even in question at this point.
Right.
So at that point, you got to sit there and argue: is Ream going to be the current Band-Aid, or is it long-term fix? We got to just start throwing Richards, McKenzie, and then insert maybe Scally at that point.
So he was at Camp Cupcake, Ream.
Yeah.
Did he play?
Yeah.
Not much.
Well, he didn't play one game. He played the other game, I think, if I recall correctly.
Yeah, I'm trying to remember. But
I don't think he played the first. I don't think he. Well, he didn't start the first match. I think he started the second match. So I don't know if he came in the first match at all. But
either way, the way McKenzie's playing right now, he's got to start. The way Richards is playing at right back, center back right now for Crystal Palace, it's been pretty damn good. And then the way Scally's been playing for Mönchengladbach, I don't see how you drop him out of the back three for a Ream. And you can say Trusty and CCV, but honestly, CCV is in and out with his toe injuries and his left testicle. And then
just overall quality. Jim even brings it up too, because I think Charlie brings up a point where he's like, if you had, I believe it's gonna be Ream, Richards, and McKenzie. We're gonna bring one more player in because Scally's gonna be there, because Charlie's the only person in this group that actually gives Scally his due. And that's why I commented during the show. I'm like, Charlie with a W,
Yep. Do we even need to play this? I think we covered everything they're going to talk about.
We'll cover in certain topics. So
all right, go ahead and play it.
But the argument, and I don't think this is going to be the arguments that we're going to cover here in a second. The only reason I'm bringing it up. But I think Jimmy brings up a point as far as like, well, if I have to choose between CCV and Trusty, I'm going to bring Trusty because of recency bias. And CCV hasn't been that great for the U.S. men's national team. But he's quick to throw Richards in there, and Richards hasn't been great for the U.S. men's national team.
Yeah, but Richards wasn't good for Crystal Palace either in his early comeback after injury. So
that's fair. Richards wasn't great with the U.S. men's national team prior to his injury, though.
Yeah, Richards went through a bad spot. I think we all agree with that. And I think that's over. I think for the most part, it seems to be over.
I'm hoping. I just want to see a good match for Richards for the U.S. men's national team, period.
Yeah, I would too. And I mean, the way he's playing right now for Crystal Palace, I think he's sort of come back to where we thought he should be.
Yeah.
So it has been up and down, as Burnt Toast says, for Richards. But I think in the end, it's back to being up, at least for the last 2.5, 3 games. Right?
Yep. Just bring it March, Richards. Bring it March. So
got to bring that form.
So this topic is the first topic is let's see here. What's Weah's position basically?
Yeah, it says it on the screen. What is Tim Weah's best position? I mean, you can play it. We already know the answer, but go ahead.
Well, it's interesting to hear what they have to say about it.
Is it?
But what do you think is Tim Weah's best position? Let's just start overall. Where do you think his best position is overall? But
before they even say anything, Derek, what's his best position?
I mean, his best position for us is to play out wide as a winger.
An out winger would be ideal for him, yes. But
I mean, with the option of pinching,
closer to the goal.
Right. And what Poach was doing with him is pushing him out left. So he played with Jedi along the left side. Now, that was a flip-flop with Pulisic, but
the funny thing about that, though, is that even though he was playing the opposite of Pulisic, he wasn't necessarily pinching in like Pulisic pinched in.
Right.
So he was still sitting out wide, receiving the balls, and then cutting into the middle.
When Jedi advanced, he cut in.
Yeah.
Because they're not going to take up the same space. You don't want to do that.
So we complained all last cycle and the cycle, under the Berhalter era. That Pulisic and Jedi.
Yeah, they're trampling all over each other. Yeah.
And then I went the one game that Jedi plays with Weah, it opened the world. It opened it up. It's like,
I think if you even play Pulisic out there now, I think you'll see a lot of rotation. And we did see that under Poach, actually. We saw Jedi and Pulisic and the cycle. We saw a lot of cycling there, along with McKennie in that cycle on the left. It wasn't like you had to ask yourself, like, who's playing what? Because we saw Jedi all over the pitch. We saw him outright. We saw him in the middle. We saw him everywhere. Yeah. So it was total football. Like, I've never seen the U.S. play open total football before with flip-flopping positions and covering for one another. And that's what we got to see under Poach. And all the players, of course, in the interviews, including Pepe, said, this is vastly different than anything we were ever asked to do under Berhalter, who Berhalter said, got to pass it here, then you got to pass it there, and you got to move there, and then they've got to make this triangle pass here, and then like, that's fucking joysticking the shit out of these kids. Poach said, no more of that. When it gets into the final third, it's up to you guys. You just have to cover for one another. That's
Casanova believes Weah's best position is goalkeeper.
All right. I mean, at this point,
let's hear what they got to say.
All right.
That might not be the same answer for where you think his best position is with Juventus.
I think his best position is as a winger, attacking players. But it was Eindhoven last week, right, where he played as the right back, man, and he was cooking with gasoline.
Yeah. Of course. Yes, and he was great today too.
He did great against Inter too. Yeah.
I'll say
that
wasn't today. It was yesterday.
It was yesterday. Yeah. I'll say this though. Juve played differently than U.S. men's national team, even under Berhalter. Under Berhalter, we played differently. So it's not apples to apples when saying like, well, this is what he did with Juve at wingback. You got to look at what he does for the U.S. men's national team, and he offers so much more in the actual attack than he does having to spend half his time with defensive responsibilities.
Right. Thiago and Poach, not the same coaches, not the same vision, not the same setup, not the same strategies, not the same tactics. Hard to totally translate whatever Weah's doing at Juventus to exactly what Poach wants to do. And we've seen what Poach, listen, okay, we haven't played world-class teams yet, but we've seen what the vision is from Poach. And I like that. And I like him further up the field.
Agree.
And I just think we're being realistic here too.
Now, you can make the argument, does he take the the Musa role under Poach?
You
play
could
out wide, and then come back on defense when need be. But he's more or less that wing option, that wing back option.
Certainly, Weah is the guy who is going to burn down the field as we saw this weekend.
Yeah,
and make an amazing defensive play to save you. Dest ain't doing. Dest ain't doing that.
Is it? Yeah, here we go. And I'm not gonna. Oh, you can't see it. Hold on. Stop sharing. I'll come back to that clip in just a second.
You can, but I don't think it matters if you do or don't.
Well, we got other things to cover. So we lose the ball. The Juve lose the ball.
There's Weah.
Weah's over here.
There he is. Yep.
He's tracking back. Keeping stride for stride.
Beep. Steal.
What a tackle. Get out of here with that shit.
And you know what? That doesn't show up on many reports, or nobody's going to talk about it.
That'll be listed as maybe a recovery, I guess.
But your coach knows.
That's a fucking highlight right there.
Your manager knows what you just did.
Yeah.
You're not getting that from Dest. So
it's a different expectation. That kind of plays into the hot take that Rafa brings up here on the show. Hot take: Weah offers more at right back than Dest.
They're different players altogether. Like, Dest is a super technical player that's going to dribble past three guys. Weah's only going to do that if he's got open space in front of him and he's going to burn you with his speed. Dest will just dribble past guys.
Dest is more technical.
Yes. So it'll just depend on what you want if you're Poach.
Yeah.
What do you want out there? And I think that's either or. And I think you can get both of them on the field at the same time, and the argument's over.
I think Des playing the Musa role and Weah playing up there with Pulisic.
And then
as the inverted striker.
By the way, Musa's played quite a bit in that drop back, pick up the ball role for Milan lately. Like, who's to say he can't do that alongside Adams? He could.
Well, then where's Weston playing?
Now you're gonna have to play up top.
There's the argument right there.
There's the problem, right?
Somebody's
getting fucked.
And that was your argument whenever we talked about
back three.
Berhalter needs to try to play a back three. I'm like, well, your point is, well, then somebody in the attack is sitting.
Yep.
Who's it going to be, guys? Who's it going to be?
Is it going to be Musa? Is it going to be Reyna? Who's getting fucked in the ass?
Reyna's already out. Reyna's
right.
And
exactly.
he's coming off the bench until he can prove otherwise.
Yep.
The question is it going to be Musa? Is it going to be McKinney? Because you can't substitute either one for Adams, quite frankly.
Can't be McKinney.
The other option would be Weah sitting out and then McKinney pushing up would be the other option.
And this is all talking about when Des gets back. These are all happy problems to have.
Oh, yeah.
Let's just see if the Des that does come back from that very serious injury is the same Des we had before. Not only does he have to fix the injury, and once that's fixed, he's got to gain fitness.
Yeah.
Then he's got to gain confidence in that repaired injury. Playing after an injury, as you well know, it's just, you worry about it. It's on your mind. I don't want that to happen again. So you overthink it. So let's just see what Des we get back before we even bother wasting any more time on this debate. Really.
Well, I've got to say, let's just assume Des does come back full steam ahead, and he takes that Musa role, and Musa pushes into the midfield and has to compete there. I'm sorry, but he's not taking McKinney's spot.
Not in a back three / back five.
It's not going to happen. I don't care. There's nothing that Musa brings to the equation, quite frankly, that McKinney doesn't already do.
Right. It's a champagne problem. And, that's when you take McKinney off in the 73rd minute and put in Musa, right? If you need to. But it is a champagne problem.
All right. Well, we don't need to necessarily watch this clip because we covered it. Although I will say, like, hold on, there's kind of a what is it, 3102? Okay. So basically they say the same thing that we've been saying. You know, like, Jimmy brings up the point that Weah offers more defensively, and so does Charlie than Des does. And you can make that argument, sure. Weah's shown a handful of times at least with Juve of those recovery runs, like we just literally saw, that I don't know if Des necessarily recovers for. But Charlie has a comment here as far as I would say it's like a no doy comment here, but let's just hear what he has to say on this hot take.
Okay. I had to say, okay, right back is the only spot that Timothy Weah can play and the only spot that Sergiño Dest can play. And you have to pick one. I don't think there's too many people that are going to pick Sergiño Dest at this point, because especially coming off a long-term injury.
What a hot take!
That's not a hot take at all.
Well, you tell me Dest coming off of an injury for about a year now.
Yeah.
And March is a couple weeks down the road. That there aren't that many people out there that are going to have to choose Weah over Dest at this point, at this current moment. No shit.
I think it's crazy that that's a hot take on this show.
Oh, God.
It's not, and I'm glad Charlie said it's not, because we don't know where Dest is. Even if that injury is fully healed, we don't know his fitness. B, we don't know mentally how he's going to deal with playing with the idea in his mind that once shit like that snaps, it could snap again. And by the way, sometimes it does.
Yeah.
And whether or not you become Josh Gott or, the homeboy in FC Dallas. You don't want to become that. And so, yeah, you don't want to become Daryl DK. That's in your mind. Everybody that's ever had a serious injury like that worries about it. Like if Gooch talked about it, right? Onyewu talked about it over and over. Like I never recovered from that mentally. I never felt like I could trust moving left and right again with that knee. And so that does happen to players. Now, is that going to happen to Des? We don't know. But again, technically the way we're set up, you could, as we said earlier, play both Des and Weah at the same time. It's just that Moose is going to have to go.
You're going to lose somebody. So,
and you're playing a back three. Again, you can say Poach is going to go back to a back four, or you could think it too, that we are playing a back four, which we are absolutely not, Pete. Pete, brother, love you, but no, I don't care how you massage that. It's not a back four. Not when it's a back five on defense, and definitely a back three on offense. That's a back three center back setup. And Scally never moves forward. That's a backup back three. I'm sorry. And we'll have Pete on. Of course we will. We're going to have Pete on. We'll debate this with him. We just disagree. And we love Pete to death, but he's just wrong. Just wrong. Period. Anyhow, I hope he sees this clip because we love him, but he's just wrong. This is a back three. Period.
I think I'm going to clip this entire topic right here with the call it what you want crew. So,
yep.
I got another one that another clip that came out that was the UEFA selling out to US for their Champions League stuff. It was automatically hit with limited monetization, so I'm like, I challenged it immediately. I'm like,
it's good.
I don't need to post this stuff immediately right now. I can post this whenever I want to. That's kind of evergreen. So let's challenge this now. Oh yeah, it's back to monetization now. So
fuck those dickheads.
I'm gonna post that up tomorrow, guys.
Dude, it's amazing. Every show we put up is immediately demonetized. It's fucking crazy. I like it makes no fucking sense. What is wrong with YouTube? Who knows?
They just don't like us. Too much
fuck you, YouTube.
Too much consensual adults making love conversations, I guess.
Too much porn talk. Clearly cover that as research.
Yeah, exactly. That's educational.
Or is it that part where Derek wants to know if a tongue in the ass?
That's possible. You know, I'll say this much: none of our with the short intros for our actual recorded videos, none of them have been dinged in the end.
So
now,
I probably need to believe
one has been dinged, but I challenged it, and we could challenge our live streams. I guarantee you, we'd probably get overturned on those too.
Yeah,
but it's just not worth it because at that point,
it's over.
At that point, it's gonna be over. 7 to 10 business days. Come on, guys. Come on.
Yeah. So I might need to bleep out ass in that one too.
Do something, I guess. I don't know.
Because I bleeped out the chick who literally says licking your man's ass is yeah. And then if I did it to the other one, which is hilarious because it's an undemonetized YouTube show that had that on their show. It was an interview with a porn star, and it's not demonetized. I know because I asked them. Yet, our playing a clip of their show demonetizes us because they're talking about ass. What the fuck is up with that? No, like we could literally debate. Well, we just took it from a clip with an interview with a porn star that you didn't demonetize, and yet you demonetized for us for using a clip of an interview with a porn star on YouTube that is fully viewable and monetized. So you, man, stupid YouTube, fuck off.
What the fart, you know?
Yeah. All right, what else we got?
This is the Chuck win. So after both Tony and Jimmy put forth their ideal starting lineup that has a back four, you know, 2 center backs and two backs that push up into the attack. Chuck comes in here with the win.
This point, I'm going Mackenzie.
Go ahead.
Can I just say this?
You can.
McGlynn and Luna were both. Now they both said, "Yeah, McGlynn, no way. There's not enough room in the midfield. Too many players." The fact that we're talking that they included them in the discussion is fine. But currently, if we're being extremely realistic about who Poach is going to pick, it ain't Jack McGlynn.
No.
And as much as we
Too
love
much competition in his position, quite frankly.
As much as we love Luna with his broken nose kicking ass, no.
So you bring that up because I didn't say that timestamp, but Tony does bring that up as one player in the argument that you could make that maybe Poach saw enough at Camp Cupcake and the desire, and he, maybe it just, got his, his jollies going, enough that he might get a call up.
No, he's not.
So.
I'm just saying it here so no one's surprised that Luna's not on the lineup or in the roster.
Casanova wants to know if we get monetized from Twitter. We would, but we have to hit something stupid like 3 million interactions in 3 months, and we just don't pull those numbers, quite frankly.
It's more like 500,000.
So feel free, guys, if you guys want to help us out on Twitter, retweet, quote tweet, comment, do all that shit just to try to draw anybody who may be following you towards our content.
Yeah, we need about 2.5 million more.
Depends on the month, man. There's sometimes where I'm just like weekends roll by and I'm just not that active. Or maybe I do a play-by-play for Norwich, which brings in like 300 hits or views because it's a play-by-play for Norwich.
Yeah. I think, unfortunately, for our straight red card, I unfortunately wish I sometimes posted as a straight red card.
I need you basically to just get off your channel altogether. Your channel, and just post purely under a straight red card at this point. Because you strike gold from time to time.
Yeah, it's been crazy.
My hits are consistently around that 1 to 3 or maybe 4,000 hits, but then occasionally, once in a blue moon, I might strike gold. But you do significantly more than I do, so I don't know.
I'm not even trying.
You're just in like, hey, this one post where I said Poach has been kind of calling Luna drew in like 70,000 views. I'm like, you motherfucker, post that shit on here.
Hey, dude, you created my Twitter.
I know. I created the beast.
So it's all on you. All right, what do you got?
I'll deactivate your ass too, and then you'll have.
Don't you dare. People know who Boomer Richard.
All right, well here's Chuck Weezy's win. Okay.
All right.
Richards, and I know that Ream brings so much experience and he's calm on the ball. But I think you eventually you have to move forward. So I think that's a good shout is Robinson, Mackenzie Richards, and at this moment still Scally, because he will give.
Did he say Robinson?
Jedi.
Oh, okay.
He's going over the back four as a whole.
Oh, they're still talking about a back four like that's happening.
Well, I don't think he talks about how Jedi moves up into the attack, but he goes over as far as the lineup's going to be presented. And Derek, you know this as well as anybody. Everybody's going to present the lineup like it's a back four, with Jedi on the left, Scally on the right.
Except for US Soccer Way, who get it right constantly. They get it right.
Hey.
Go to US Soccer Way if you want to get the real fucking lineup and the setup. Otherwise, if you're watching online, you're Googling that shit, you're going to see the wrong setup.
Look at this inception right here. We got Bob's Your Uncle said, hey, there I am. And right next to him is Bob's Your Uncle.
There you are, Bob's Your Uncle. Bob's Your Uncle.
Everyone focus on me.
Bob, it's easy as Bob's Your Uncle, blah, 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 blah. What's the thing that comes after Bob's Your Uncle that the English and the Australians always say on these commercial shows that they do about like the amazing blender, right? There used to be look at this amazing, and it's easy as Bob's Your Uncle, blah, blah, blah. And then you have a milkshake, right?
Speaking of the Brits, there was a comment that Lalas had posted, and somebody had brought up the Canada debacle that we talked about earlier.
Oh, Canada!
And he goes, and Lalas said something along the lines of, well, we just assume that the Canadians are well known for their humor, and then he goes ... Oh, I'm sorry, humor with the British U on it.
Yeah.
And then I respond, and somebody's like, "This is why people hate you, or hate Americans, or whatever." And I go, "They hate Americans because we got rid of the British U, except for the word glamour."
Yeah, right. Although I've seen glamour done without a U.
It's fair. We're Yanks. I mean, we're Americans. We speak American English.
If you look it up, I believe glamour without a U is actually acceptable as well.
I'm sure it is.
Yeah.
I don't doubt it. It's a stupid letter that shouldn't be in a word.
Yeah. So there's something besides Bob's your uncle. There's part of a phraseology in British/Australian. It's like, and it's easy as Bob's your uncle, blah, blah, blah. There's another sentence after that.
Fanny's your aunt?
Bob's your uncle, Fanny's your aunt. I don't think it's Fanny's your aunt.
It's something like that.
But anyhow, regardless, hate us all you want. Although, honestly, when I was abroad, people loved Americans. Although I spent most of my time in Germany. People, for the most part, loved us. They were great to us. They were
I'm sorry, but the people that are willing to step up and take these interviews and these polls and stuff like that aren't the general masses. So, like the Canadians that are having these issues with Americans, and the Americans that are having the issues with Canadians, the vast majority of the populations have no problem with each other.
I love Canadians.
Same thing with Europe. Same thing with any other fucking country in the world. It's just those people who want to be vocal about it.
Now, the French Canadians, on the other hand, not as warm and embracing, but general Canadians, pretty good.
I've got no problem with them. Yeah, I mean, again, it's fun to poke fun, and when other countries poke fun back, I'm perfectly fine with it.
Oh yeah, I love it.
Whatever.
Oh, by the way,
guys, it's all fun and games.
Totally clear that Charlie stole my look.
Well, we're getting to that just now, Derek. So we'll go and talk about this, okay?
You're trying to trigger somebody. Chuck's always your number one target, but we'll have to wait and see.
Yeah.
Chuck looks like the main character in Life Aquatic. You do. Steve Zissou. Unbelievable. I love it.
Thank you.
Bill Murray. That's the Bill Murray character, Steve Zissou.
It is 2 degrees out here in Boston. I'm just going to throw that out here.
Do you think Chuck got the reference, first off?
Not immediately.
I mean, I know Jimmy did, obviously. He's the one who spelled it out for everybody.
I think Tony's completely clueless what they're talking about. He's completely clueless. Great movie, by the way.
Yeah.
Sometimes
he's an underrated actor in his elder years, quite frankly. Like, you look at all of his older movies when he was younger and stuff like that, you're like, oh, that's great. Groundhog's Day, Ghostbusters, Scrooge, those are all great movies. But then his older stuff, you start, the drier it got,
the better it got.
It better it got. Yes, 100%.
Yep. So here's the thing that gets me with a lot of these shows. If you're talking this show, or you're talking about, which I don't know if it's going to exist going forward, best American soccer show or whatever it's called, and is the total either purposeful ignorance or just avoidance of other soccer voices as if they don't exist. And I used to say this about Lalas too, but now that he's come out of our show, obviously he's going to acknowledge our existence. But still, on the shows, like, we quote their shows all the time.
Mm-hmm.
We bring up stuff they say. How come they never bring up shit we say? Like, even if it's Tact or Pete, like, Tact is a big fucking voice. There's a reason he's going to be the manager of the $1 million soccer team tournament, right? That happened for a reason. People wanted him to be part of the tournament. He was invited to be part of it. And why is it that they don't want to acknowledge we exist except for to piss on us or get angry at us?
I feel like for the most part, they have their own voice and they have their topics they want to address. We're more commentators on culture. We talk about soccer and stuff like that, but we'll sit here and like, hey, we watch this video. Let's address this. And quite frankly, I would love it if there was some back and forth between all these shows. Quite frankly,
there should be.
That'd be baller.
It would help the whole community if they started acknowledging commentary from other shows. Like if there was more of a circular conversation and community going on between all of us. But I feel like that community is like just stuck with Pete, Tact, and us. Like we have a dialogue that we express on our shows. They talk about things we say. We talk about shit they say. And I think that's part of the conversation and the debate in the community. But they refuse to get involved with any conversations as if the independent commentary doesn't exist, except for when we piss them off, which, I don't want to do that.
I think that was great because they did, in fact, bring us up in that situation. But it'd be great if they just, and I'm not saying how they should run their show by any means, but I think there would absolutely be some great back and forth between all of us. If they said they could easily disagree with anything we say. Derek, you're an absolute moron if you really think we're playing a back three, and then provide your reasoning for it. And then there could be some nice back and forth. I think it'd be fun.
And Pete would never say that, but that would be the normal debate.
No, we'll call Pete a moron if we thought he was a moron on the topic. I have no problem with that.
No, we just say he's wrong. We wouldn't call him a moron, but
Pete, that was a stupid fucking take.
The point is that, like, I do think this should I think it would help their show if they acknowledge that other shows existed, is all I'm saying. And they don't even acknowledge other mainstream shows exist.
I mean, in their chat, the people that you see a lot of times get brought up and stuff like this. We see Fumar get brought up. We saw S27 get brought up. We saw Bob's your uncle a second ago.
Yep.
Their chat is our chat too.
Yeah, so let's be a community. Let's talk to each other, except for, the only time we can talk is when, Jimmy, you're on our show, or Tony, when you come on our show, which you've done before. Like,
but up there with the Ronaldo topic we had earlier, I don't know if Miola would necessarily remember doing our show.
He probably wouldn't. But why are we pretty much the only show that does culture across the board? We review everybody else's show and their comments. Why isn't everybody else doing that? That's part of the community conversation. And the fact that that's not happening everywhere, I think is kind of broken, because I think we need, I think that fuels conversation, that debate, even if it becomes ugly, fuels the conversation.
Yeah.
Like, why isn't that happening? Why are we the only fucking show? Now, I'll give Jake credit, at least his show criticized other shows, including ours.
Hey, he called us below the basement journalists. And you know what? That sparked conversation.
It did. I'd rather have that than no conversation at all. And I think that needs to happen more. I think other shows need to talk about other shows and criticize them without the fear. Like when we criticize Pete or we criticize Tact, we are totally not afraid that they're going to get mad at us because we know them. And when I criticize Max Bredos, I am not afraid to do it here because I know he's going to take it the right way. And when he criticized Lalas, same thing. He's not going to take it the wrong way. I think that's more of what we need because that fuels an actual community conversation. And when I take on some of the people that chat in our chat and we disagree with them, that fuels a conversation. We don't get enough of that. You get it like internally, like Jimmy and Davies. They'll like disagree with people in their chat like they did with me, but it's not enough. Like, this is not a community conversation. Like, everybody's in a silo except for us. I think we're the only show that's not a silo. We acknowledge everybody else and we cover everybody else's commentary and their opinions. No one else is doing that, as if everybody else's opinions are fucking meaningless. And that, I think, is wrong. I think that needs to change. I think that will help fuel the community conversation. You don't want to acknowledge anyone else exists outside your show? Really? Except for the people in the chat? And then occasionally when you're mad at me? Okay, that's fine. But you shouldn't have to wait till you're mad at me. We should be having a conversation on the regular. But that requires you to watch our show, which is 3 hours long.
I mean, and as a whole, I think, quite frankly, the conversation that we're having here now, talking about like, hey, these if other shows call us out and we call them out and back and forth, even if it's in good faith, or maybe we're actually really pissed at each other, I don't know. But there's the aspect that it grows everybody's channel, quite frankly.
It does, and it would.
It would. I mean,
it would absolutely grow everybody's show if we all.
And that grows the community as a whole, as far as the voices within.
If we all had each other on each other's shows, I've been on Pete's show multiple times. I've been on Tag's show multiple times. So we are having those exchanges. When's the last time this show asked an outsider to come on their show?
You know, I was actually this close because I had to go and pick up the kids from my parents' house. But on Jimmy had asked for hot takes, and this was one of the hot takes was that he looks like Steve Zissou. But I was actually going to post TSRC greater than call it what you want.
Yeah,
just to see if I'd get on air.
I mean,
so
we have more live viewers on our show than they do.
I'll come back to that super chat in just a second.
So
TSS and Scuffed react to other creators' comments too.
If they're hot or directed at them, it's really only the corporate shows that must have a policy of not bringing up the people making similar vids. I don't know what it is.
I mean, Herc showed up on Tact and Pete's channel, but how often did Herc bring up Tact and Pete on their show? Like, hey, I was talking with Tact and he said this. How often did that happen?
Yeah, there's not enough intermixing. And, we'd love to have Herc on our show, except for our conversations so far have been, your show's on the same time ours is on Monday.
That's got to change.
Monday and Thursdays. That's when we do our show.
So Seb. Maybe we can get Seb on the show now.
Now Seb's off the show, which I think is criminal, frankly. I don't mind the new gal. I think she's great. And I don't mind what's his face. He's good too. But I mean, that Seb Herc thing. Bang, 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 bang. Disagreeing all the time. All right, I gotta go pee. I'll be right back.
Yep.
I'll let you start the next.
I'll start talking about the next topic.
Nice. I'll be right back.
So there's a lot of talk as far as Gio just not getting a lot of playing time under Dortmund. A lot of people are like, well, Gio has this liking towards Dortmund and this understanding, and maybe he just needs to bow. Well, I mean, of course he needs to leave. He needs to get out of Dortmund at this point. But the problem is that people act like it's his decision, and it's not his decision that he didn't leave in the winter. At this point, Dortmund's got to make that decision, and they're not just going to sell him for peanuts, but they're going to have to sell him for peanuts because, quite frankly, they're not playing him at all. So the big argument, the big debate coming out now is that, well, Gio needs to do a lot more work off the ball. And there seems to be two sides on this argument, quite frankly. There's a side that he's whenever it's off the ball, defense especially, it's kind of lazy. He doesn't get back and do enough. But then there's a side of people of us, and Derek's in this equation. I'm in this group as well. As far as seeing the defense, his defensive capabilities and what he brings to the equation. So Arturo says, is Gio a great defender? No. Is he a bad defender? No. Gio is a player who ultimately plays enough defense, but doesn't look good even though it's effective. Too many managers are trying to play the new Pep tactically, or being the new Pep tactically. Now want midfielders who are great at everything.
Okay, another disagreement with Pete. Really, honestly.
Yeah.
I'm not. I watch every game Reyna plays. I just have not noticed this massive defensive void that we're talking about. And again, maybe Reyna is languid.
Languid, thank you. I was going to say that's, I think what everybody's looking at is that.
He's languid, but he's not lazy. I'm sorry, he's just not. And there have been times where he's been played as a CDM for Dortmund this season and the Champions League. Yeah, and did just fine. So this whole idea that he can't play defense, I'm just done with it. Others can keep thriving in on it if they want, and I'm sure Pete has examples that he has specifically in his mind.
That's the thing, though. You could always go back and you can say, well, look, if this moment right here, if he would have just, busted his ass a little bit more, he would have gotten to that ball before this guy did. Right. Okay, I don't disagree with you on that. There are moments where he may have been able to expenditure a little bit more energy and do something a little bit differently. But overall, his defensive ability is not bad. Quite frankly, it's not great. But then again, you don't want Gio to be responsible for defensive plays.
You shouldn't want him to be, but when he has to be, he's got to be there. And his positional defending is perfect. He's always where he needs to be positionally. If you're asking him to do a bust your ass Weah run and he ain't doing that. He's not going to run back 50 yards and make a tackle like Weah, but who is? Dest isn't. Who's going to do that? Jedi, yes. Outside of Jedi, Weah, Dest ain't doing it. I can't name a midfielder. Not even Adams will do that. He will now with Bournemouth, but he didn't do it at the World Cup. We watched some lazy-ass defending on his part, too. So this whole idea that Reyna is poor defensively, he's perfectly positionally in defense.
Yeah. And as I've mentioned ad nauseum, he's a former Dortmund player playing in a new Dortmund system. And that's to say, he gets into positions where he can play the 1-2 passes, move the ball around, get into the attack, and that's not how Dortmund play right now.
Right.
Dortmund don't play through the middle. I mean, go back to when Bellingham and Haaland were there and watch how they play the ball through. They play, I don't want to say tiki-taki in this sense because it wasn't necessarily that front, but it's a lot of one-touch, two-touch passes, very short, confined, very claustrophobic almost type of spaces that they're passing through. And they're getting into that attack and they're getting scoring opportunities. Now, Dortmund plays a lot out wide and into the middle. They almost avoid the midfield, quite frankly.
Can we be serious about Dortmund?
Sure. Well, they're 11th place right now, so
they
why not?
Fucking blow balls. They suck. So if whoever they're playing right now is the best they got, they're in trouble. They're in trouble.
Well, they're definitely not playing. They're definitely not playing like a team. That's the issue.
No, they're not playing like the roster they have.
They've got enough good guys that they shouldn't be in 11th place.
They suck.
Regardless of the coach.
I hate watching Dortmund.
Yeah.
I fast-forwarded through the whole game and just watched the last 10 minutes that Reyna plays.
It's painful. And the problem is I want to watch the rest of the match so I can sit here and make an argument. Like, well, Brandt didn't do this, X, Y, and Z. He could be playing over these guys. And quite frankly, Brandt has not been good this season.
He's been horrible.
So there may be some games where he bags a brace of assists or gets a goal, but quite frankly, his overall play has not been good. Not been good at all.
It's not. And the fact that Reyna still can't get on the pitch, who's the new assistant that took over? I don't remember his name.
Yeah.
But he's a fucking moron. Frankly, you're down 2 goals.
It's worse than what was under Sahin.
Sahin, we had hope. In fact, once Reyna got healthy, we saw starts for Reyna. A couple of them. Well, those days are over. And then when he did come off the bench, he got 20 minutes, not 5, not 8, not 10.
5+ stoppage, Derek. Come on.
It's ridiculous. Anyhow, fuck
Dortmund.
Dortmund.
Miguel wants to know if Dortmund will ever sell Reyna. Yeah, this summer.
Yeah, they will.
It's going to happen this summer because Reyna's not going to sign an extension.
Hell no.
He is done.
This is over.
Done.
It's over.
Yeah.
And listen, people are like, oh, yeah, Derek and Brett, they're like, he should stay at Dortmund. That's never what we said on this show. We said he's staying at Dortmund because of A, B, and C. Yeah. And we laid out A, B, and C and why he was staying at Dortmund. We laid out the plan. The board laid out publicly and why Sahin was hired publicly. All that is in German press. Go read it in German and translate it. It's all there. That's what the plan was, to play the young players. That's why Sahin was brought in. But this team has no balls, no testicles whatsoever. They're broken. They have there's no chemistry. This is a broken team. There you go.
Yep.
Ashton Mook. I think we've been holding on to this for a while.
I've been trying to get it out of here, but yeah, I pulled it up a couple of times and had to pull it off and pull it off.
Yeah. All right. Wait. All right. Wicca. All right. For Nations League, 3-4-3, Turner, probably. Back three, Scally, McKenzie, Robinson. Which Robinson are we talking about in the middle?
Well, it's
can't be the Robinson I think you're talking
Jedi
about.
Because the wing backs are McKinney and Musa. So he must be talking about Jedi.
No way Robinson's playing in the middle.
No, Jedi's got to push up.
Or on the left in a back three. Sorry, Ashton. I really appreciate the $5. There is no way Robinson's playing in the back three. No.
I'll disagree here in the sense primarily because Robinson needs to get into the attack.
Yeah. He's playing left wing back. He's in the back five of that three. He's left wing back. So that'll probably be Richards.
He does specify a couple times here that McKenzie's in the middle. And that's not the argument we're having here, though, Ashton.
Right.
We're saying McKenzie in the middle is fine. Jedi out left center back isn't going to be fine because
happening.
We want Jedi pushing up. Whether it's into the actual attack or it's into the midfield. I mean, that's the only thing we're going to argue against.
And that's just not happening more than anything else, Ashton. It's just not going to happen. Like, there's no way that Jedi's playing left center back. Not going to happen in any universe. He will be playing left wing back. And if they do go to 4-2-3-1, he will be playing left winger. There's no way around that. He's not playing left center back. It's just not happening. And then wing backs, McKennie.
Real quick, one thing one thing we didn't cover with Call It What You Want is they mentioned the players like the McKinney and the Musas and the Weahs who are versatile and can play multiple positions, and how that could actually end up hurting kind of some of the fringe players, like the backups to the Jedi, the backups to our other backs, although that's at this point, McKinney can go out and play right wing back, so can Weah, etc. And there are some players that may get hurt, may not get a call up because of the versatility of these players. And why would you call in somebody like a Ledesma, even though he's playing for PSV and doing well at times?
Ain't happening.
But when you have somebody like McKinney, you can fill in for that wing back role, or Musa or Weah, and you have the option to bring in somebody else in the midfield to add more depth, why would we ever contemplate that? So, but yeah, McKinney and Musa wide, it's possible. McKinney could play as a wing back if required to be.
No, it's not possible.
It's going to happen.
It's not going to happen. Musa will play right wing back if Des isn't healthy. McKinney's playing in the midfield. We're just trying to be non-Disneyland. What we do on the show is not feed you bullshit. We're giving you reality. And with Poach as the manager, McKinney ain't playing any wing back position.
Well, I'll say this much. Let's say, God forbid, hopefully, knock on wood, Jedi gets injured in a match or before during a match, and you need to bring somebody in that left wing back role. Yes, McKinney can fill in. That's the reason why I'm saying
utility.
God forbid. He's a utility player. He can fill in that role. I don't see it happening, though, at least as a starting role, for that matter.
Right. CMs.
Good.
Adams and Johnny, probably realistic, although...
Could if McKinney wasn't available or he's playing the 10.
Could be Adams and Musa, depending if Des is healthy. Left wing, Weah, and right wing, Pulisic, completely, yes. And Sargent, yeah. No Balogun, no Pepe.
Yeah.
Injuries, yes. Now, we get down to who the two center forwards are going to be, and everybody's like, oh, yeah, Aubameyang. And Aguiman and Sargent. No. Shouldn't be. Should be Sargent and Downs. Like, if you're paying attention, should be Sargent and Downs, especially with Haji Wright still injured. Dominic Downs. I know his name's Damien, but
no, yeah. But that's the thing. I think as far as Nations League is concerned, I think Damien is suffering from the fact that he's not been called in yet. And I could see Poach opting for an Aguiman or a Vasquez just because he's experienced both of those players.
I'm okay with Vasquez. I'm okay if that's the other pick.
I agree. I agree with you on that. Aguiman, he succeeded in a Camp Cupcake.
And showed to be lacking in many areas. That Vasquez is actually good at holding up the ball and passing the ball. He's good through the lanes. He's great in the box. He's great at set pieces. He's a great header of the ball. Don't tell me Aguiman has already taken Vasquez's spot as the back. Yeah. Bull fucking shit. That is bullshit. Don't come at me with that. Vasquez is better than Aubameyang. I'm sorry, he is. So don't come at me with that.
Two more mentions that Vasquez missed his last 5 to 6 chances. Well, that's why he's like 5th to 6th in depth.
Yeah, so we're talking way down the depth chart because of so many injuries and because Peacock fallen off a cliff. Now he's injured. So now we are going that far down, but don't tell me that Camp Cupcake like overthrows Vasquez. To me, if that's the case, that's ridiculous because Vasquez played at a level that Aubameyang will be lucky to ever play at.
So now, this is a funny thing when we talk about Aguiman in the sense is that his only potential role, if we play Poach's system, is going to be striker at this point. Under Berhalter, he could have filled in as kind of like the Haji light, playing out wide and kind of making his cuts in when he needs to. But we don't play that type of system anymore. We don't play those wide outside strikers anymore. They pinch in to that inverted winger / tens. Aguiman can't play that role.
No.
So he's only
Haji Wright can, but he's injured. And
so I think if Haji gets back into the fold and plays, I think just like we saw with Greg, I think he and Poach ends up going to kind of a 2-striker role, if you will. And I think Sargent would actually play further back than Haji in that point.
I mean, if we get to that, and I don't know if we will, because I think we're talking about a CAM, the double 10 role that Poach likes to do. I just don't see that happening. I think Sargent's going to play up top.
Yeah. I agree. Yeah.
And then I think that you'll have either Vasquez or Downs. I don't think anybody else is really like. Maybe I'm wrong. I could be wrong, and that Poach loves this guy. If he loves him, he's not Berhalter. Like Berhalter, we had down to a T. We got everything right about Berhalter. We were 99% correct about everything Berhalter thought.
You know, it's strange, quite frankly, when we talk about Haji, is Haji went from a guy under Berhalter who could either play out wide in the Pulisic role, because that's who he subbed in for, or as a 9. Under Poach, he has one role as a 9 because he's not going to play the pivot, the double 10 inverted.
I think he could. I think he could though, Brett.
I'm just saying I don't think he would. I don't think Poach would play him there.
I think that'd be an oversight on Poach's part. I think we see him do that tons with Coventry City when he was healthy. We see him in the box constantly. We see him cutting in constantly with Coventry City.
I'll say if we're looking, if with Haji, I would say that Poach would look at more of a in the end, if he's not playing as a lone 9, he's going to be playing as more or less a 2-striker formation at that point.
Well, he can look like that, especially with Poach's total football look, right?
Yeah.
He could start out wide and be a 10. So, and I think in Coventry City, when they play him, we see him play a lot of defense out wide, and we see him start to play out wide. But Haji Wright cuts the fuck in. That's why he's scoring so many fucking goals when he was healthy with Coventry City.
And I guess in fairness, he could play the Tim Weah role that we saw against Jamaica, where he was more or less an out and out winger that then cut in the end.
Yeah,
and
but
he's not necessarily a quote unquote inverted winger / dual 10, if you will.
The thing is that unfortunately, there's so many injured players where we don't even have reports about like how bad it is. Like Paredes, how long is that going to go on at Wolfsburg before anybody?
That's a weird case, isn't it?
Before anybody in the German press reports on how bad it is and his projected fucking return.
Yeah.
We got tons of players like this. Tolkien's now injured, by the way. St. Pauli guy's injured.
Don't forget Sands.
Sands is injured now.
Just had surgery done,
on his ankle. If I go down the list, other injuries, we've got, of course, the whole PSV team. Pepe, Tillman, Dest. Like, how ridiculous is that shit? And then I was hoping in the Burnley versus Preston North End game on ESPN to be able to watch that. But Koleosho's injured. He's had a shit season anyhow. Koleosho's been shit, by the way. Anybody not paying attention to the championship, he's been garbage this season. And now he's injured. And then Dwayne Holmes, he was injured too for that game.
Casanova says, Sands, come on, man. I thought you weren't Disneyland.
What?
We just brought him up because,
we just brought him up. That's it.
He was playing consistently for a Bundesliga team before his injury. And I say consistently, I mean, he's only got like a couple games under his belt. But
Sands was not in the picture for starting for this team.
Way far back in depth.
Way back. Haji Wright's injured. Lyndon Gooch is injured. Balogun's injured. Paredes is injured. We already talked about Dest, Tillman, and Pepe and Bello. Green's injured. Julian Green had to bring that one up, even though he's not really in the picture. Anyhow, the injury list goes on and on. Hey, by the way, Matthew Hoppe played for Sanderjeski. All right.
Yeah, I forgot he signed with somebody.
He played a whole fucking 20 minutes.
That's 20 more minutes than he got in the last 2 years.
Didn't score. Didn't block any throw-ins with his basketball routine that he does where he throws up his arms to block the pass. He didn't jizz on anybody, but he played. Yeah. All right, that's a start. What else we got?
Bob's your uncle, 499, talking about our current sub situation. He says, hey, we need to get your subs up. 3.7 is a fucking crime. Best chat community of any other U.S. soccer creators. My favorite U.S. men's national team related show on social media.
Here's the thing, Bob.
Word, guys.
Bob, I'm jizzing all over from that particular super chat. I'll just say this. There are some people who can't handle this show.
You can't. Yeah. Our Fluffton's rub some people the wrong way.
We're loud, and we're kind of up in your face. There are a lot of tender vittle people out there that can't handle that anymore. They would rather watch two guys lazily jerk each other off live on air. There's nothing we can do about that. And we've had as many people canceling sometimes a month our show because they find what we say offensive.
Like this. San Fran fan 30 says, are you sure you didn't jizz on anyone? Derek, you aren't the type to watch the Danish league?
When I can find it. It's not like the Danish league is on everywhere. I'm just saying there are people who have written me, PM'd me and said, your show's so offensive, I can't watch it. Or your language is horrible. You guys curse too much. I can't watch your show. I don't know what to tell you. And then there are other people who think they assume our political leanings. Oh, you guys are wacky left. Or the other one. Oh, you guys are wacky right. No. There is absolutely nothing you could actually watch on our show that would give you any idea except for the fact, which I've been open about. I have worked for the Democratic Party for 25 years, and now I don't. And I'm an independent, and I think they're fucking up. And outside of that, I don't know what you could be so angry about that we have said on the show. Even outside of the dirty stuff, people hate the porn stuff. Yeah, they told me that.
Even soccer takes. I've had people tell me like, "Oh, you guys hate MLS," and then I've had other people refer to us as MLS shills. So I'm just like,
I know,
or Simps. I'm just sitting there like, I don't even know what you guys are talking about.
I got those too. You guys suck up too much to MLS. What? You guys hate MLS. No, we don't. We don't hate. Hate's not our thing.
We hated the appropriate amount of hate.
We criticize. So listen, we lose followers for the most. Like I get these messages, and I'm just like, what the hell? I'm not gonna waste my time winning them back as subscribers. They just make assumptions about who we are, and then they're like abandon the show. Other people have short attention spans.
Yeah, I tell people just to jump into the show at the 30-minute marker if that's their problem.
If they don't like the fluff, just jump in 30 minutes because that's when we start the soccer show.
Brett looks like an MSNBC host picture of a Trump supporter.
Might be. Could be. But I don't think so. I think Brett could be an outright socialist right now. And how would you say he's not? Which he isn't, by the way. But anyhow, listen, it's not that easy right now. Things are very complex as politics go. So
TSRC has two white guys from Indiana politics, but this isn't a political show whatsoever.
It's not. Although we have criticized the fuck out of Indiana politics and the politicians.
I mean, come on, guys.
You need my fucking driver's license to watch porn in Indiana? Fuck you, you fucking idiot morons. Yeah. Blow me. I will get a VPN. Fuck off, Indiana. You fucking religious weirdos. Like you're helping. And look, if it did help, maybe that would be one thing. But all these kids that I teach, they all have VPNs. They're going to get way beyond your little fucking law that requires them to put their driver's license in to get to watch porn. They're way past you, you idiots. Your stupid law was meaningless and useless. Anyone can get a VPN. Anyone can watch porn pretending to be in another state. You dumb fucks wasted our time.
Ashton says ExpressVPN should be a sponsor of the show.
They should be.
At this point, let's start tagging them on Twitter, guys.
Unfortunately, I went with Nord.
Let's get Nord. I don't care.
Let's get NordVPN. Fuck you, Indiana legislature.
Sponsor of this episode is NordVPN. Watch all the porn you want to watch.
Yeah, exactly. All right, for the 256 of you here, make sure you like, subscribe, share it with your grandma. We do appreciate it. We're coming to the end of the show, so if you want to get your questions in, get them in now. Rob Garcia for $4.99. What do you guys think of a 3-4-3 with Pulley and Gio up top next to Sargent? I wouldn't complain.
I'd love it.
I'd love it. Wes and Adams in the middle. Week and A-Rob on the wing.
Weah and A-Rob. I'd actually be fine with that.
I could
play the Musa role. Sure, yeah, guaranteed. That'd be baller.
I could live with it. I don't think it's going to happen currently. I could be wrong because, like, we're not totally mind melded with Poach.
And
but
Poach likes him some Musa too.
He loves him some Musa.
So I mean, he's making a case for himself.
Yeah, he has been playing well for AC Milan, except for that last game was kind of frustrating this weekend, where I think Musa probably should have had a goal. So that was very frustrating. But he played pretty good for the whole game. But Poach loves him some Musa playing as a right wing back in that back five. And I do think that's what we're going to happen. Sorry, Pete. It's not about
him some Brendan too, so who knows what's going to happen.
Yeah, he does love Brendan, but I do think that, as the current double 10 setup goes, that's still Weah and Pulisic, and he can flip-flop them left or right, right? Depending on how he sees the weakness.
They did that entire match. They flip-flop.
Yeah, right. Depending on the weaknesses of the other team, where they need to be, right? Mm-hmm. So there's that. Soccer Dad in Cali, $20. Your show is one of the few that I put on my calendar to watch. Listen, I don't always agree, but your opinions are genuine and lack the engagement farming stench that is now common with other soccer personalities. I mean, I don't know who you're talking about specifically, but I'm sure there is stench, and stench smells.
The best part of this super chat right here is the fact that Soccer Dad and Kelly doesn't always agree with us, and that's fine. We can have a debate back and forth, and we might not necessarily agree in the end. Who cares?
Is that the same Soccer Dad on?
Well, it depends. You're probably referring to one of two Soccer Dads. There's a Soccer Dad in Cali, and then there's Soccer Dad in West Virginia or WV.
Who's the one who's
Soccer Dad in WV has become very political recently?
Yeah, no, super. Like, and
that's fine. If you want to be political, that's by all means. It's Twitter. Who cares?
It's a former Bernie supporter back in the day. I can understand a lot of what he's saying, but it sounds to me like a lot of what he's saying is actually not Bernie stuff, but pretty standard, like establishment news stuff. Like, okay, you want to believe that? That's fine. Not all of it's true, and that's okay. But yeah. I mean, we agree on some stuff and we just disagree on a lot of other things.
And Soccer Dad and Kelly seems to only have soccer takes, and he gets into it with Arturo.
Oh yeah, okay, yeah,
all the time. And I think Soccer Dad might say it's actually the other way around. Arturo seems to get in arguments with him, but either way, fun to always see their conversations and their back and forth. So
yeah, I mean. What I would do if you want other people to watch the show, I think there are a lot of people that show up on the show for the first time and they see the chat and see that it's a community and they're like, oh shit, like this is a community. How do I fit in? Like, I don't know why they're intimidated, but I have heard people tell me they are intimidated by the chat. I think we're really welcoming people, honestly. So I think you guys are doing what you can do.
I think the newbies see Fumar and BMR going at each other.
Maybe.
I can't jump into this, man.
Maybe. But I think generally this is a very accepting community, regardless of your politics, regardless of where you stand on certain picks for the U.S. men's national team. We're willing to all have that debate here, and it's a family affair. It's a family affair. I know that I don't agree with everybody in the chat and all their takes. Doesn't matter. I know that some people call us fat and other things in the chat, and it's okay. Yeah, we are fat. It's okay. I think that's part of the fun of this show.
I think it's the best way to refer to that. Plus, it's plump.
Absolutely. All right.
All right. Last thing I wanted to touch base on. This will be quick. We'll just go over it real quick. It's just a couple of potential Nation League.
To the main topic, Brett. Real quick.
Oh, guess we haven't really talked about that, have we?
No. How good is this team? Or how good are these players now? Right. Like that's the main topic, right?
Well, I mean, yeah, we've always had some good players playing in Europe, etc. But I mean, we have a guy literally captaining Juventus.
Like it's not even close. And those of you who haven't been watching the sport religiously for 20 years and watching the evolution of it, back in the day when half the team were MLS players or more. And now it got down to 7 MLS players on the USMNT set. Now we're down to like maybe none. Maybe 0 MLS players are going to be on this squad in March. 0. Absolutely Z-E-R-O.
You had a second. Z-E. Should I fuck that up already?
Zilch. Z-I-L-C-H. None. Absolutely none. I think zilch is a Yiddish word.
Zilch.
Nothing. 0 MLS players. Like, that's not an offense to MLS.
None.
It's just a tribute to the fact that there are so many Americans playing in top 5 leagues right now.
Yeah, and that could be
high levels.
That could be speaking more about MLS because MLS is in fact now selling their best products off to Europe, who are then performing. Again, I mean, you can say certain players aren't necessarily MLS based, but I mean, obviously Tyler Adams is playing in the EPL. Chris Richards is in the EPL. I mean, he was playing in the EPL. No, but again, we're looking at a current crop of kids, guys, that are like 26 at the highest.
Yep.
That are leading goal scorers and assisters for AC Milan. We have a midfielder who is captaining Juventus.
And a player out wide at Juventus that's really locked in a spot as a starter at Juventus.
We've got a left back who's the best, who's being considered the best left back in the EPL. I mean, what argument could we possibly make compared to? I mean, you can sit there and have the argument that we made in the past as far as the mentality of the group seemed rather soft. Maybe that fell on Berhalter. I don't know. We're seeing a complete turn of events. We have the player pool that should be able to succeed.
Yep.
Maybe not necessarily win a World Cup, but I'm just saying at least succeed, get further in the World
Cup.
At least compete for it,
Yes.
We have the players for it. We have to have the mentality of that. We got to get out of that mentality of like, oh, we're the United States. We're like here, up here. We got to get that point. Like, hey, we have guys. We're playing at these top leagues, and we're playing for top teams who have a huge history, and we're excelling there too.
And we're talking about like players like Pulisic, who that's one of the best players on AC Milan. And you can say, oh, it's Italy. Okay, fine. Whatever.
It's not the Serie A of old, what we used to experience back in the day. It's not like that.
If you want to call it like suddenly Serie A, I believe the Serie A is going to add an extra team for the Champions League next year based on their whatever that's the mathematical equations. And then you got so many players in the Bundesliga. Let's say Nathaniel Brown does pick us, which I think he's going to do, my personal opinion, based on his online actions and based on some things I can't tell you yet. I think he's going to pick us. And then we move on over to even Holland. And we look at the top 5 teams in Holland. Who's the best player on Utrecht? Without a doubt, no question, it's Paxton Aronson. He's not even good enough for the U.S. men's national team as far as we understand his role and whether or not he'll be picked or not by Poach. He's not even good enough. It's crazy. It's crazy talk. A guy playing with the top 14. It's not good enough.
Into consideration, generally speaking, not necessarily as of right now, but the top team in Holland as well has upwards of 4 Yanks on it. So
and yeah, you got PSV. Tillman's not a starter. He's like one of the best players on PSV. Des is injured. Can't talk about him right now, but he's a starter. If healthy and completely back.
Desmond's been a starter for most of the season right now, and
he's not good enough.
He's not even in contention. We're not even talking about him.
Not good enough for the U.S. men's national team. Then we look at Pepe, injured. One of the best. He's the top scorer, I believe, in the Dutch league right now, and he barely plays half the games. He's the top scorer for the team. And then you look at. Go ahead, Brett.
Jumping back to Syria and the argument saying like, well, this isn't the Syria of the 90s and 2000s.
True.
And yeah, you can sit there and say true, but then I don't want to ever hear if U.S. ever plays Italy, I don't ever want to hear that Italy's so good and that the U.S. are the underdogs because the entire Italian team is based in Serie A. So if you're gonna downplay Pulisic, Musa, Weah, McKennie, Busio, and Busio's not even he's in contention, but I mean we're not even talking about him being in the 20.
We can't.
So
he didn't start this week today, by the way.
Yeah. But you sit there, you can't sit there and downplay our players that are doing well in that league, and then build up a team that's 100% of that league. So
and then maybe people are like, oh, Scally, shit. Okay, fine. But you know what? Scally is a solid ass fucking defender in the Bundesliga. Like, when did that become a crime? It shouldn't be a crime.
He's not gonna blow your tits away, but you know what? He's gonna be a reliable player. And that's one thing that Chuck talked about in that show that we were watching, is that we complained about Scally earlier on because he wasn't consistent with the U.S. men's national team. But of the last couple of windows called up, he's been since Copa, he's been consistent.
Yeah.
And you can't ask for more than that. Now, of course, you can sit there and say, like, well, I think other center backs are better options at this point. And sure, you can make that argument. But I think he's been a consistent option that until proven otherwise, he's going to be the player to start at that right center back role.
And then we got players like Mackenzie at Toulouse. If you were going to tell me a year ago he's going to move to France and take his game to a whole nother level, I've been like, he'll be fine, but you're not going to be that good. No, he has taken his game to another level. He's advancing the ball. He's making through passes. I mean, this Mackenzie has advanced his game. Richards, solid now. Yes, when he came back from injury, was it rough going? Yes. But the coach didn't give up on him. He stuck it out, and now, last handful of games, Richards been fine. The funny thing is, Brett, we go back to 2011. Can you imagine us even having this conversation? We're talking about a handful of players in Europe. A handful. We're talking about Bradley and Dempsey. Now, goalkeepers, we have plenty of those. Yeah, we have plenty of goalkeepers. That's a problem right now.
We had goalkeepers that'd be starting for us now that never got a lick of national team play.
When we were doing the big soccer show, you had Gooch in Belgium, and then eventually in Italy, but he never played. But it's like it was just nothing, really. A big nothing burger. Dempsey, Bradley. Dolo, but who was injured for most of that era with Hanover. And you had so when I put together that report back then, and I used to put it on a regular basis for Big Soccer, the overseas U.S. men's Yanks abroad report, it was easy. It was like 120 guys. At best, at some points, maybe 80. I'm putting that report together now. It's absolutely ridiculous. I can't even cover everybody. I'm having to stick to the top 5 big leagues, plus Belgium and Holland and one guy in Switzerland. It's like, I'm not spending my whole fucking day on this. There are so many goddamn Americans playing in three Bundesliga, 2 Bundesliga at 17, 18, 19 years old, young guys. Like, I could bring some of them up because I wrote them down for this report, but which we're not going to get to. But you got a lot of young kids now playing in 2 teams in Bundesliga 3 and 2. You've got young kids playing in Holland's second division, bunch of them playing. We talk about Dordrecht on the show all the time. There are 3 Americans on that team. It's ridiculous. It's ridiculous. I just want to make sure everybody has the understanding of how far we have evolved. We have evolved way beyond. And you may still say, well, these group of players still not as good as the 2012 or 2002 guys, and some of the other things we've accomplished. True. They need to prove that. And that's mentality. Technically, skill-wise, as far as their level meets the levels of the biggest top 5 leagues, this is as good as it's ever been. Period. End of story. So it's going to be about mentality from here on. How do we take the leap? How do we embrace that? How do we include the old, as Brett would probably say, the old U.S. mentality of we're going to kick your ass and we're going to fight like hell.
It's like holding that underdog mentality while acknowledging the fact that we may not necessarily be underdogs anymore.
Right.
Depending on who we're playing.
Right.
Let's paraphrase that. It's one of those things where, like, we're looking at our CONCACAF region. Yes, I understand going abroad, going to Honduras or Costa Rica or Mexico is still going to be a battle by all means. But we should be going to these places with the understanding that, you know what, we have players on our squad that play consistently better opposition week in, week out.
Yep.
And we should be able to go down to Costa Rica. We should be able to go to El Salvador, Honduras, Jamaica, and still be able to perform and come away with results.
Yeah.
And I know it's tough. It's tough. I'm not going to take anything away from it. It's tough to win on the road in any form of qualifier.
On these goat patches, sure is.
Yeah.
They're taking away your ability to pass.
You play on narrow fields and instead of the wider fields that you're used to playing on. You know, it rained for 4 weeks prior to you playing a qualifier match. It's tough. It's all tough.
Yeah, so I don't want to call it the golden generation yet. That's still going to be determined about how they do in 2016. That will either be the label for them or we'll dislabel them from that. That's a new word. It will dislabel them from that golden generation marker. Right. If you choke, if you don't have the mentality, if you don't have the guts and the balls and then we'll know.
Avoid labels at this point. Let's not name kids wonder kids. Let's not talk about golden generations. Let's just applaud the fact that we have a deeper squad than ever.
This is
of talented players. We may not necessarily live up to our hype. We may falter, but we may excel.
I remember when I was having arguments with guys online during like the 2012 or the 20
big soccer days.
8, and they're like, your team sucks. There's nobody on your team. I'm like, well, McBride plays for Fulham, and so does Dolo plays for, Hanover, and they're like, oh, okay, great. That's fantastic. Hanover, wank, wank, wank. They can't do that anymore.
Well, yeah.
Our guys play for top teams.
To use an example here, let's just take a look at this potential lineup that somebody had posted for the Nations League as a 3-1-4-2. So we have, key player at AC Milan. We got a key player at Norwich, EFL, whatever, you can make your argument, but still performing well. You have arguably one of the best left backs in the EPL.
I think the best left back without any debate in the EPL this season. Jedi.
Moose has been playing more and more for AC Milan again.
I think this is a bad pick, but yes.
Captain of Juventus.
Yep.
Right back currently of Juventus.
Not that by the way, I want to be clarifying. I think it's a bad pick because I don't think it's going to happen. But that's
he's going
story.
MMA with 2 strikers. So I mean, I don't see this happening.
No, this is not the lineup we're using.
No. I'm just going over this as it lists the current, arguably 11 of our best players to talk about. But yes, Adams, who's playing in EPL right now, vying for a Champions League spot in EPL at that.
Yep.
McKenzie, who's playing with Toulouse right now. I don't know necessarily where Toulouse falls in League but
and by the way, can I just add that Adams has impressed the holy living shit out of me in his stint so far after coming back from injury for Bournemouth. I have never been this impressed with Adams. I thought he was a baller for Leeds. I had no idea how big of a baller he was. He in Bournemouth, like
it was clear as day when it's time with Leeds that he is a contender in the EPL. What team he falls in line with in the end, that's up for question. Now, mind you, again, at Bournemouth, they're vying for a Champions League spot, so it's a good place to be for him.
If Manchester United want to truly rebuild into something relevant, because they're jackassery right now.
Yeah.
You pick up Robinson as a left back, you pick up Adams as your holding mid. I mean, you got a team. You got a core of a team right there. And then you just pick up a few more. I don't know how else they rebuild at Manchester United. That team's a wreck. But, we could go down the line. McKenzie, I think he's been one of the best center backs in the Serie A this season. Certainly the best center back for Toulouse.
Not Serie A.
For Liga, sorry.
Yeah.
And then Richards got his shit back together after a rough start. Last 3 games have been fine.
Yeah.
Scally has been nothing but a defensive stalwart for Gladbach.
There's a reason why they keep playing him.
Yeah, he's not going to give you much going forward, but boy, he's just so good back there. Then we get to the problem spot, but yeah. Goalkeeper. Although Turner played well in the cup.
So Colin does mention that in this lineup, there are 3 more or less defensive midfielders again, with Musa, McKennie, and Adams. And I'll agree to it in the sense that in this lineup of a 3-1...
It's not our lineup, number one.
No, yeah. But to his argument here, there's no creativity outside of McKennie right there.
Mm-hmm.
And that's going to be the problem with this lineup.
Right.
I mean,
with this lineup, which we don't think we're going to line up like. No. This is not how we're lining up.
McKennie is the only one, quite frankly, in that midfield that I feel confident making passes around.
And, we keep waiting for Musa to blossom in the final third, and it has gotten better. I mean, slightly with AC Milan. He's got some shots off. Mm-hmm. He's making some passes that should be finished. But generally, he's still a virgin when it comes to the final third.
It's great. He's great in the build-up. Just make the easy pass off and then go from there. But as far as that final pass, that final third pass, that's going to be tough.
And we talked about it a while back, but I still think that Brendan Aronson has this problem. But when he gets into the box or near the box, he's timid. He's unsure. He's not quite there. I think when you get near the box, you need to be confident. The ladies like that. And you need to let them know you understand you've got command of the box. And, we're still waiting for that.
Untouchable says Gio is better than Musa. Gio for Musa. Gio has free roam.
I'd agree.
I'd argue with that too. Yeah, 100%.
I don't know if we'll see it, but yeah.
It's funny. I pulled up the other lineup here, this 4-3-3, and it is the exact same squad, just in a different formation.
And we're not playing this.
And it's MMA in the midfield again. We're at a point now where we don't need an MMA in the midfield.
We're stuck in Berhalter era here. This is not, okay, Pete might think this is real. It is not real. This is not how we're lining up. Musa, and by the way, if Scally
would
were
necessarily pick MMA at this point. I mean, I think Pete may have had his full fill of MMA.
Yeah, I'm not saying Pete totally agrees with this, but he does think we're playing a 4-3-3. I'm just or a 4-2-3-1. We're not. We're just not. This is a 3 in the back system. Scally, McKenzie, and Trusty are your back 3 in Poach's system. Period. And I don't think it'll be Trusty. I think it'll be Richards.
Yeah. I agree with Johnny here. Zero creativity in this.
No, this is like this is boring shit. Might as well be Berhalter lineup.
Maybe this is I need to drag out a result if we're playing a significantly better team and we need to just try to control the midfield and then spring an attack. Maybe.
Yeah, I mean, this is like if you were really hot and you needed some sex, and you're like, I'll take a soggy dick. This is what this lineup is, a soggy dick. This is not happening. This is not how Poach is going to do it. And it's going to be totally different from that. That's soggy dick shit. No, we're not taking that. None of us are that desperate.
Yeah.
Goalkeeper. All right. Yeah. March squad. There's some weird picks here. Ledesma ain't making this team.
Well, let's go to the list real quick. We'll go, a lot of this is going to be yep, nope. Yep, nope. Matt Turner, Horvath, Stefan. I don't think Horvath's going to get brought in.
That's why we should just pick the ones, right? So, like, no Kai Banks. I don't think he's going to get on the squad. I would liked it, but I don't think it's happening. Yeah.
Let's look at the defenders here. We got Joe, Ledesma, Robinson, Brown, Richards, Trusty, McKenzie, no Kai Banks. That's a.
I'd like to see Brown. I like to see Brown, but Brown could play. Brown could play left wing backup. He could play left wing backup. He could play left midfielder backup. Like anything on the left, Brown can do.
I realize that the top 4 are backs. Yeah.
Yeah.
Ledesma
ain't making the team.
He's not making it because again that Ledesma role, quite frankly, until Poach proves otherwise, is the Musa role.
Yes, agreed.
So, sorry, Ledesma. Yeah, and Nathaniel Brown is the back. Would be him and Robinson would be contending for that left wing back role, and then again, Brown could be pushed up even higher if he would need to be.
Yep.
Tyler Adams, Tessman, Cardoso, McKinney, Musa, Luna, and Gio.
No, Luna's not making the team. Sorry.
I'm still kind of holding out hope. Not hope, but I guess I could say hope.
For what? I mean, I love Luna, but he's not making this team.
I'm just saying it's possible that he impressed Poach enough in January that maybe.
Doubt it.
I'm not disagreeing with you, Derek, that it's doubtful. But I'm just saying that there's. So you're saying there's a chance.
Yes, exactly. You're saying there's a chance, and I'm saying there's not.
Yeah.
I don't think Luna makes this team. I think, like the Tessman debate, I think you could make that argument, and then you're going to have to wonder, well, how much did Poach really like Morris? He seemed to say a lot of nice things about Morris. But wait a minute. He said a lot of nice things about Tessman. I don't know. Like, that's going to be a debate, baby. And now that Tessman's playing, he played the full 90 for Lyon this weekend, then you're like, okay, maybe that's all back on. Maybe Tessman's figured it out. He played alongside Madic. We'll just see. We'll just see how that goes. I think that's a question because some people will say Busio, but then Busio's not starting right now for Venezia. And maybe that's their reasons for that. I don't know about. But, yeah, I mean, there's Maloney. There's
that's the question. If Diego's gone, take Diego out of this equation. Who's filling that role? Or not role, even just that spot.
I think the Diego Luna role is filled mostly by Brendan Aronson, who's not on this. Well, he's listed as a forward. But as Poach said, and as Aronson has said, Poach views me as a CAM, which is where I want to play. So you could play him out wide if you want to as a winger, but honestly, I think he's mostly viewed as a CAM.
Yeah.
And I think, again, is Tillman going to be healthy by March? If he is, he's here before Luna. And so is Aronson. So there's that.
Colin says that Tony Meola said that he heard Luna won over the coaches. I do recall Tony saying that I thought he said he wonders if he won him over. I don't know if he necessarily did. I'll have to go back and re-listen to that.
Who did?
Tony Meola said that he heard that Luna won over the coaches with the whole, keep me in, coach, don't take me out. And then, big balls, Luna goes in there and gets that assist.
I'm sure they all went home and jizzed on the wall about it. Don't think it makes a goddamn difference when you're talking about Nations League coming up in March. No. And I just want to make it clear to the people who think we hate MLS, we love Diego Luna. And we are hoping he goes overseas and finds a club and gets to prove himself at a higher level soon.
So,
period.
Again, I guess I'm just going to spawn this question. I'm sorry if you answered this in the end, but take Diego Luna out of the equation. Who's missing? Because that's 23 players out there. So somebody's taking either his spot in the midfield or his spot as a forward.
Well, we already talked about who's missing in the midfield. It would be Maloney. It would be Busio.
Yeah.
Who else would be missing? There are other players who would be missing. But regardless, Luna's way down the line on this. He's down the line, like 3 levels down the line. So I just don't see this happening. I just don't. And I love Diego, but I do.
So the dueling 10 /
Tillman as well.
Well, assuming he's healthy. Yes.
Yeah, that's the problem, right?
So this is currently healthy and available. You can make the argument maybe instead of Diego, you're looking at Paxton.
That's a great one. Like Paxton's the best player on the 5th, 4th best team in Holland. He's the best player on that team, and he does play as an 8.
And Busio's also Busio also plays consistently for a Serie A team. So again, higher competition. Now, mind you, different players as a whole.
And Paxton can play a 10. We've seen him do it for the youth teams. We've seen him play out wide for the youth teams.
He's played out wide. He's played as a false 9. He's played as a 10. Now he's playing deep for Utrecht. So
I'm not even going to bring up Taylor Booth because he's
not an option.
Shit city right now and coming off the bench for Twente. So there you go.
So I mean, your inverted 10s, or sorry, your 10s / inverted wingers are Pulisic, Weah, Aronson, and Gio. So you already have backups as that role. So what are you contending basically for more center midfielders at that point?
Patrick Aguiman. Are we on forwards yet?
Yeah, sort of. We've kind of dabbled into it.
If he makes this team above Vasquez, I am going to be shocked. Because I just don't. I think that Poach said enough good things about Vasquez when he did get time with him the first time. I just really be shocked by that. I think it's Sargent, Vasquez, Weah, Pulisic, and Brendan Aronson if you want to put him as a forward, which I wouldn't do. But where the fuck is Brown? They got him as a defender. He should be listed as a midfielder or a wide player forward, but you can put him in defender.
Well, I mean, no, as a defender, he'd be competing with the Anthony Robinson wingback role. And that's where you'd want him over a midfielder, which is more or less the Weston McKennie and Adams type of roles.
I'd list him as a midfielder because he can play defender or forward.
Then you'd list him. So you throw him in the midfield lineup here because it's in between defender and forward?
Yes. I would.
All right, fair enough, Derek. I get your I get your basic reasoning there, but
because he's neither either. He can do both. So it's like, let's just put him in the middle because he can do defender and forward. Like if Pulisic goes down, I'd rather see Nathaniel Brown come in for him than Brendan fucking Aronson. I'm just being honest about that. I really would.
Poach bring in Zendejas for sure. Watch. He's been lighting it up.
He has.
So,
and listen,
he could very well be in there.
We love Zendejas on this show. I love Zendejas, but I don't think it's happening.
I'm so jaded by his Gold Cup performance.
That's true.
His 30 minutes against Mexico is not enough to sway me just yet.
That is a perfect example of a dude trying to do way too much.
I don't disagree with you there, Derek.
Yeah, he tried to do way too much, dude. Chill out. You don't have to be the best player on the field. You just need to be a part of the team. And he wasn't part of the team. He was like, I'm going to go out there and prove I am the best player on this team. And that fucks you every time. Yeah, it fucks you every time. Yep. Just be a player on the team.
Sometimes it's okay not to be Pulisic and try to be just kind of a bit player on the team. Just do your job.
Right. We used to criticize Pulisic for this constantly. Don't try to be Superman. Play your role. And then pick your spots to be the superstar. Don't
leave the Superman to Gio. Come on.
Don't try to be the superstar every time the ball hits your foot.
Yeah.
Dude, it ain't going to work out well. And it didn't. And he was super, to be fair to him, in his interviews afterwards and whatever,
Zendejas it. Yeah.
Yeah, Zendejas very critical of his own decision-making. So there you go.
He knew it was not a good performance, and that the next game came up, and he's like, "I got to perform better." And then the next game came up, he didn't perform any better.
No, he didn't.
But he at least acknowledged his failure in that sense.
Yeah, but this whole idea that your past performance with the U.S. men's national team means you're just a shitty player is absolutely fucking ridiculous, and I'm sick of hearing it.
That's why you're like, we love ourselves some Zendejas. I'm like, yeah, let's reel it back. I'm saying he deserves a call because he's performing well at his club.
Oh no, that doesn't mean
we're in love with him. You know,
that doesn't mean he deserves a call up. I like Zendejas in Liga MX. I watch him. I enjoy watching those games, and I love watching him play. Whether or not that means he deserves to be called up to the U.S. men's national team, it's a whole nother question.
Well, I think
we're talking about like millimeter difference between the best teams in MLS and the best teams right now in Liga MX. It's not that far apart. So
it does help his case that he's still playing right now, though. Whereas MLS is just exiting their preseason and about to start their actual season.
And he's one of the best players on one of the best teams in Mexico. That certainly helps.
Hey, he's about to make his move over to Orlando, so it won't matter.
He's not moving to Orlando. Fuck that. It ain't happening. So there's that. So, I mean, we like Zendejas. Don't get us wrong. It's not like we dislike him. It's just going to take a lot for him to get back on the big boy team. It really is at this point. It just is.
It does help his case, though, that his oppositions are constantly getting injured. So,
yeah. All right, I think we're near done.
I've already closed out all my Twitters.
All right, we love you guys. Thank you for being here for 3 hours and 20 minutes of total craziness.
I haven't seen him in the chat, but he must be happy.
Oh, yeah, because if we do under 3 hours, he's like, you're a slacker.
Fucking lame and lazy.
You guys are lame slackers. And for the 200 and I believe it was 78 of you who were here at one point, make sure you like, subscribe, and share it with your grandma on both X and YouTube. We'll be back on Thursday. We will. We'll be back. Much more to talk about. There's always more to talk about. Until then,
something to talk, period. So
make sure when your stepsister says she needs lube, you use it. Until then, we'll be back on Thursday. Good night.
That hurt.
I want to play in Europe. What the hell does that mean, right? Because Europe could be Latvia, Luxembourg.
No one's talking about Latvia or Luxembourg, dumbass.
So you don't want to just shove it in there. Start with the smaller finger, especially if this is the first time. Start with the smaller finger and go slow.
I mean, there's a lot of things that need to change.
Honey, eating it is the best thing that you can do for your man.
I want people to realize I'm just human. I'm just human, and I make mistakes.
So this guy, Derek, wants to know, is putting your tongue in an ass really the thing to do?
Yeah, it feels really good.
Yeah, just it's a weird one, I think.
And I know you want me to toss your salad too, don't you? All right, on that note.
What the